many times Miami takes the field at the Orange Bowl, it is still steamed by the memory of Boston College's banner day from 12 years back.
Flutie flush. Throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it. Oh. It's a touchdown. The Eagles win it.
Miami's misery this season reached its apex 1 week ago when a last-minute touchdown slipped right through their fingers. Now Miami is looking for a new direction, raising Cain, hoping to recharge a season, 1 win away from a bowl bid. There will be no bowl, however, for Boston College. But the suffering could be eased today if the Eagles find an open field and stun the Canes for the first time since Hail Flutie. It's Boston College at Miami, all set next on CBS. South Florida with a heavy dose of sunshine on Senior Day at the Orange Bowl. For 20 Miami Hurricanes, one last grand entrance and a family salute on center stage. For Boston College's 11 seniors, for many, it's the last time they'll put on the pads. From Pee Wee and Pop Warner to high school and college, it's the last game of their lives. It's Boston College about to meet Miami. For Boston College, its season finale, 5-6 on the year. Miami is ranked 25th in the country. Tony Gator, a senior for Miami, as they continue to introduce the Senior Hurricanes, their final game, final home game at the Orange Bowl. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Nantz. Great to have you with us on this, the 12th anniversary of the Hail Flutie game here between Boston College and Miami. However, this year it's been a season of tumult for both the Hurricanes and the Eagles, but Miami still harbors hopes of winning the Big East Championship. Syracuse undefeated in conference play. Next week, the Orangemen will host Miami and Virginia Tech right there in the picture with a 5-1 conference mark. My partner, as always, the former UCLA Bruin head coach, Terry Donahue. And Terry, for Boston College and Miami today, what is on the line in this game?
Well, Jim, for Miami, a bowl game is on the line. They need one more win to qualify for a bowl. If they get that win this afternoon, then they can go up next week against Syracuse and fight for a piece of the Big East Championship. Remember, these seniors at Miami are the first seniors in 16 years to leave Miami without a national championship ring. They feel they have something to prove to the fans and to themselves. For Boston College, they're trying to salvage their year. They were rocked by a gambling scandal, but Amari Walker, their outstanding tailback, has said that this is business for them. They're down here to beat Miami, finish the year 6-6. If they do, it'll be a remarkable finish to the year.
Amari Walker was remarkable last week in the game against Temple. He rushed for a career-high 166 yards and 3 touchdowns. This was the game winner, bouncing around the bruising runner, leading Boston College from behind to a win 21-20. They have the 13 players out because of the gambling episode. Plus, they are very injury-riddled right now, including at quarterback, Matt Hasselbeck out with a separated shoulder. That means Scott Mutrin gets the start today.
Well, Scott Mutrin was the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year against Hawaii. The game was a disaster. He lost his job, has only played sparingly since. This is his second opportunity. But, Jim, I've never seen a team ravaged by injuries and suspensions like Boston College, but somehow they've managed to play well against Notre Dame, had a big win last week against Temple, and if they can get this win today against Miami, those players will carry this win with them the rest of their lives.
Well, that's for sure. Scott Covington will be the starting quarterback for Miami, his first career start, because Ryan Clement is out with an ankle injury. And how about Scott Covington?
Well, Miami is known as quarterback U. Scott Covington came all the way from California to be the next great quarterback at Miami. He got beat out by Ryan Clement, but this is his opportunity. He's waited 3 years to be the starting quarterback today. He's convinced he should have been the starter all along. He's going to try to prove it today.
Yeah, he's looking forward to going 4 quarters today. And right now we're looking forward to going down to the sidelines with the third member of our team, Michelle Tafoya. Michelle?
All right, Jim. Well, yesterday, Boston College coach Dan Henning told us that it was his seniors who provided the lift in that comeback win against Temple last weekend. And one senior in particular who's provided remarkable leadership for Boston College through these recent troubles is defensive back Daryl Porter. Now, Porter's in a remarkable situation. He still shares an apartment with 3 of the players who were suspended for gambling. They have roomed together for 4 years. But he says that since the incident, they barely speak. And in fact, he's refused to let Marcus Bembry back into his life. He was one of the 2 who actually bet against Boston College. But you know, Jim, while Daryl Porter may have lost 3 friends back in Boston, he's a Fort Lauderdale native, and he's got 60 friends and family members here at the Orange Bowl to support him today. Let's send it back upstairs to you.
And there's Daryl Porter. One day he thought he would play for the University of Miami.
Wanted to go to Miami. Miami didn't recruit him. One of the players that you overlook in your local recruiting area. It happens all the time.
What a beautiful day in the Miami land area. Sunny skies and the tropical breezes up to 17-mile-an-hour gusts. Miami 6-3 on the year, has suffered 3 straight home losses. That hasn't happened since 1977. What would this game today, if won by Boston College, what would it mean to the Eagles? Well, here's what Omari Walker said.
You know, this team is searching for a win, searching for a big win, something that we can remember, something that we can look back and tell our grandchildren about, you know, when we're older, that we were down, you know, and down and out, and all the odds were against us and the world was against us. And we went down to Miami as underdogs in the Orange Bowl and ended up coming out victorious. I think that would be the final touches on a tough road.
Tough road is an understatement. Undermanned because of the suspensions plus other injuries. Hasselbeck, their kicker, who had an outstanding season going. Hale Flutie was 12 years ago today. But Miami hasn't lost to Boston College since that time, winning the last 6. Tremaine Mack will receive the opening kick. He leads the nation in kickoff return yardage. He averages almost 37 yards a return. Boston College won the coin flip, but wants the football to start the second half. So Mack down it. They'll bring it out to the 20. Scott Covington gets his first start as a quarterback since November of '93, when he quarterbacked Dana Hills High School against Mission Viejo.
Jim, we watched Scott Covington play in high school when I was out at UCLA. Saw him in a camp. He's an outstanding player. He's got a big, strong arm. And the coaches and players here at Miami have a lot of confidence in him.
He has seen a lot of action this season. This is the 8th game he has seen action in. And here's the handoff. McMillan stopped by Porter all the way out to the 33-yard line, a run of 13. Behind Covington in the backfield is McMillan, who gained 13 yards on that carry. Nick Williams at fullback. Tony Gator, we saw the senior introduced. Yatil Green, who has a hamstring injury but will start. Chris Jones at tight end. Blaise Mercier, K.C. Jones at center, and a good one. Mike Weiner, Jay Ina. First down, Hurricanes. Covington not only has seen action in 7 other games this year as a backup.
We have a dead ball foul. Offsides on the defense. Still first down.
He also saw action in 7 games last year, Terry.
Well, he's had a lot of repetitions, not only in games, but also in practice. They've really treated him like a starting quarterback. He hasn't been relegated to a backup who's taken very few reps.
1st and 5. McMillan for about 2. The BC defense starts 3 true freshmen. Stores, Giannakakis, Collinet. Hoven is a freshman, true freshman. Markel Blunt. Rupert English, true freshman. Ryan Reckley. Secondary with Davis, true freshman. Serino. Porter, the senior. Toll Free, a junior cornerback. 2nd down, 3 for Covington. 2 tight ends in. Mondrell Fulcher And also, Covington's pass off the hands of Fulcher. Freshman from Coffeyville, Kansas. Unable to hold on, would have given him a first down. It'll be 3rd and 3.
Anytime Miami puts Fulcher in the game as a tight end, they're really putting an athlete that has wide receiver speed into the contest. That ball was just a little bit off the mark by Covington, but Fulcher can not only run short routes like that, he can go deep as well.
Fulcher out of the game now on 3rd and 3. Hurricanes from their 40. Flags down. Boston College may have jumped, which would give Miami the first. McMillan was stopped short after a gain of 1. Giannakakis had him in a bear hug. Covington with the cadence may have drawn him off.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the second time in a very short duration here that Covington's snap count has made the Boston College defense jump. The first one was by design. It was a design play. That one there was just his voice inflection and the way he moved his head.
Gives Miami the first down at the 45. McMillan goes flying, and he gains about 8. Porter and Davis popped him, jarred the helmet loose.
One of the things that you have to be alert as an official is as soon as that helmet comes off a player, they need to blow this play dead. McMillan is a big, strong running back. He's short, but he's powerful at 216 pounds. He just gets it ripped off here with the hit. The concussion of the hit just knocks it right off his head.
Tim Davis was the one who delivered the hit. 2nd down 4. Back to McMillan. All the way to the 31. 18 yards on that carry for Daryl McMillan, a sophomore from Bradenton, Florida.
You can see the design that Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator at Miami, has put in for this game, particularly early. He wants to take the pressure off of Covington, rely on his veteran offensive line, and give the ball to the back to McMillan, who's a veteran who also knows how to play. He's trying to relieve Covington of the pressure of his first start.
Probably noticed, too, how Notre Dame ran for 400 yards against this team. McMillan already with 39 yards on 4 carries. Covington calls the timeout. We'll take it with him. First quarter action, Miami with the first possession and driving.
Magic Benton, Miami's wide receiver, lined up incorrectly. This has been one of the problems with Miami all year long. They've had some mental bust. It's frustrated Butch Davis and his coaching staff. The play clock got down to 3 seconds. Covington had to use it, burn a timeout right there and use it.
Jeff Popovich encouraging the team from the sideline. Here's Nick Williams, fullback, getting some hard yards down to the 22. And a yard shy of the first. This is a critical game in the Big East. Virginia Tech with an early field goal on West Virginia. If West Virginia handed the Hokies a conference loss today, next week's Miami-Syracuse game, that's if Miami wins here today, would be for the Big East title and the right to go on to the Alliance.
And if Virginia
formula.
Tech wins, it could be possibly a 3-way tie, which will really complicate things in the conference.
Little mix-up here, and it cost them yardage. 2nd and short. A collision between the quarterback and fullback, and Ryan Reckley took advantage to drop him for a loss.
This is one of the things that can happen early in a ball game, Jim, when you have a new quarterback working with backs for the first time in a starting environment. Sometimes somebody goes the wrong way, gets confused, collide, disrupts your offensive rhythm.
Cost him 4 yards, so it's 3rd and 5. Green and Gator lined up to the left, and Fulcher tucked in on the right side as a tight end. 3rd and 5, and they get the first down with McMillan all the way down to the 15. Mercier with a good block to lead him to 11 yards.
I think that Butch Davis has wanted to be able to play like this all year long. He's wanted to be able to rely on that veteran offensive line and a good sound running game. He wants balance in his offense. And right there, McMillan is a powerful runner. It's just a hard, tough run by a good back.
First down, here he is again. Only a 1 yard, maybe 2 yard gain this time. Hit first by Reckley.
You know, this is what you love as a coach when you're playing a new quarterback. You want to be able to rely on other facets of your team to get you off to a good, positive start. And that's what Butch Davis, Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator at Miami, are able to do in this drive. Covington's only thrown one pass. They've been able to go another direction.
2nd and 8. That was an incomplete pass. So grinding it out. They continue to go to McMillan. And he's down to the 10. Miami really moved the ball quite well last week for 450 yards, but got only a touchdown against Virginia Tech inside the 20. It just was a disaster.
Well, they really had a tough week in the scoring zone. And last year against Boston College, they gained a lot of yards, but only had 17 points in the game. And they reflected back and said it was in the scoring zone from the 20-yard line in that we had our problems. This is a critical area for Miami.
3rd and 5. This time on 3rd and 5, nowhere to run. Rupert English delivered the first blow, and Miami gets shut down inside the scoring zone again. They'll have to attempt the field goal.
Well, Rupert English, the middle linebacker, he's the one that plays off the fullback. Nick Williams just defeated Williams on the block and came off and made an excellent play. You'd have to wonder down there, 3rd and 5, that's probably a pretty good area of the field to give Covington a chance to hit a ball.
Andy Crossland to attempt a 27-yard field goal, and the kick, good. He had missed 2 last week after a 10 of 11 start to the season. Miami drives for an opening field goal. All right, guys, enjoy lunch. We'll look forward to seeing you at halftime. The Victory Bell rivalry, USC-UCLA. It's going to be strange for you today not to be around that game, huh?
First time, Jim, in 25 consecutive years. I've been in 28 UCLA-USC games as player, assistant coach, head coach. But today, this has been the toughest week for me because that Victory Bell, we've owned it for 5 years. And those Bruins, they don't want to give that up.
A year ago today, you were carried off the field on the shoulders of your captains. Cedric Washington is the kick returner for Boston College. Fields it at the 13. And gets hammered at the 22. Scott Mutrin, sophomore from Middleburg Heights, Ohio, in the Cleveland area. He started in the season opener at Hawaii on August the 31st and had a rough go of it that night. Completed only 7 of 25, which has really skewed his season stats. But he has looked really good coming in relief of Hasselbeck here in the last month. And Hasselbeck with a separated shoulder could be used today in an emergency situation, but it's Mutrin's turn today. Looking for an open man and just throws it into the ground.
That's a good. That's
a flag. They're going to call him for grounding. There was a receiver in the area, Terry. It was quite clear he was just throwing it away, but
it looked to me like Scott Mutrin had made a good play. The screen was totally diagnosed by the Miami defense. He put the ball in the area of a receiver. I do not think that was a good call. I think that should have been just an incomplete pass. And the double whammy with that penalty is you lose the down also. Well, and you get your quarterback off to such a negative start. Mutrin made a good play. He did the right thing, the way the coaches coach him, and then he got penalized for it. It's unfortunate. He told us last night one of the keys in their game plan today is to stay out of 3rd and long situation. Boston College needs to just make first downs. When you're making first downs, you keep the opponent's offense off the field. And with their problems defensively, BC needs to make first downs, keep Miami's offense off the field.
2nd and 22. Omari Walker. Look how hard he's running all the way to the 23. Run of about 13 yards for the only 1,000-yard rusher in the Big East. He leads the conference, does Omari Walker, in rushing. DeCosmo and Harding are the receivers. Pollock can pull in some catches at tight end, along with Chamberlain, Ariskovich, Brzezinski, O'Connor, Norrie, and LaRose. O'Connor at center in for Damian Woody, who's out for the season. Missed the last 2 games of the season with an injury. 3rd and 8. Mutrin's pass caught. First down. That's Mike Guazzo, starting wingback. Gain of 11.
Mike Guazzo is a utility receiver. He plays a lot of different positions for Boston College. He can play wide out, tight end, running back. He does everything for him. He comes to an inside route. The key to that play, though, was the nice protection that Boston College gave to the quarterback.
So they face 2nd and 22, and they managed to pick up the first down. Denny Fortney running over Brian O'Connor.
Denny Fortney right over the center position. He's the one that jumps, and he gets nailed by the left guard, comes down and just punishes him for whipping that center.
And Mutrin got caught in the domino effect. So a 1st and 5 situation for the Eagles. Mutrin, a sophomore, who told us how much he admires the way the senior captains have held this team together. Mutrin looking right side, and good piece of defending there by Dwayne Starks. Anthony DeCosmo was the receiver.
Scott Mutrin told us last night that his favorite receiver on this team was Anthony DeCosmo. He likes to put the ball to him because he thinks he can go up and get it. Excellent play, though, on defense by Dwayne Starks.
Starks, a junior from right here in Miami. 2nd and 5. Walker. Only a 1-yard gain. The Miami defense with senior Kenny Holmes, Denny Fortney, Chad Pegues getting the start, and Kennard Lang. All senior starters at linebackers. Russell, Burgess, Colby, Earl Little, Mack, Marcus Wimberly, a senior, and Starks, who made the fine play on 1st and 5. Now it's 3rd and 4. Mutrin, look out. He is pummeled by Kenny Holmes. Holmes, who had a huge game last year at Boston College.
It's going to be hard for Boston College to single block Kenny Holmes. He's an outstanding pass rusher. Dan Ariskovich is one-on-one. Generally speaking, Boston College is going to leave 2 guys on Kenny Holmes most of the day. This particular time they didn't. He got home for the sack.
Low snap. But Malicki gets the kick away. Starks on the return. Chamberlain drives him down at the 24. Kenny Holmes, according to Dan Henning last year, single-handedly beat us. And comes up with a huge play early.
Chamberlain fouled. That's a tackle for the Eagles.
Time has come today. Young hearts can go their way. Can't put it off another day.
trade after trade, active investors rely on our brokerage experience. Isn't it time you had Fidelity Investments working for you?
Hey, Jimmy, how's the leg?
Leg's just fine.
Doesn't look too good.
No pain at all.
The way you banged it up the other day?
No problem. Doctor gave me Tylenol. Extra strength.
Tylenol? Is that kind of pain?
Just watch me, son.
For the pain of traumatic injuries, Tylenol is recommended the most by doctors.
Hey, Brad. How's my leg?
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Miami has a 3-0 lead over Boston College, but they won't be satisfied with field goals all day. That's why their running backs coach, Don Soldinger, told his backs, don't focus on running east and west so much, but look for routes up the middle. And in particular, he told Dyrell McMillan he wasn't reading the Boston College defense well, guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim. Pretty early in the game, he's been gaining a few yards. I'm not sure.
51 yards. Here's the pass play to Gator. Gator with hole 3, trying to cut the angle. Didn't get him, and Gator's going in for a touchdown. Tony Gator, 76 yards down the sideline for a touchdown.
Tony Gator is the fastest of all the Miami wide receivers. To see him make a play like this after last week's critical drop against West Virginia, he's got to be the most excited player on the Miami squad.
Gnawing at him all week. The drop on the goal line that would have tied the game in the last minute with Virginia Tech. But he gets the big strike, 76 yards, 10-0, Miami. Tony Gator, so explosive. His first start came earlier this year in a game against Pitt. He caught 4 passes, 3 of them going for touchdowns, including 1 covering 85 yards.
Well, and once Tony Gator gets out in the open, Jim, he's hard to catch. No one on the Boston College team can run as fast as Tony Gator. Once he gets a step on that defense, he's gone.
Jorge Gaitan with the kick. Cedric Washington wanting to run it back. He will get the chance from the 9. Washington across the 30, 40, 44-yard line. Tremaine Mack in on the tackle after a 35-yard return. So Gators' euphoria today, well, trying to balance the despair of 1 week ago when this happened.
Well, that was such a critical play in that game, too, and the ball hit Tony Gator right in the hands. He knew at the moment that he dropped it that was the biggest play in the game. But, you know, games never really come down just to one play. They come down to a whole series of plays, and that's the thing the Miami coaches have tried to explain to him all week long.
Amari Walker for about 3. Boston College must be careful here. They already trailed 10-0 in the first quarter. They want to take advantage of that fine kick return by Cedric Washington.
Boston College is a team that has an awful lot of character, particularly in view of all the troubles they've had this season. And I've seen them against Notre Dame, as you have. And last week against Temple, they came back after being down 14-0. They've got a lot of fight to them.
2nd down and 7 near midfield. Neutron across the middle. Good pass. It's Pollock in Miami territory at the 37. 15-yard completion.
Boston College is spreading the field, which is different than what Dan Henning normally likes to do because they've lost so many tight ends in their offense. They're usually a 3 tight end offense. They're usually in tight formation. Today, because of the injuries and suspensions, he spread the field against Miami. That's thinning out the defense. That's giving Scott Neutron a better chance to have some throwing lanes.
Walker off right tackle. A gain of 3. Burgess on the tackle.
Walker stopped by 54.
Virginia Tech still 3-0 over West Virginia, and many thought that the Hokies could get picked off today coming off the emotional win here at the Orange Bowl last week.
It's hard to be up at that emotional level 2 weeks in a row that they were against Miami last week, they're going to have to struggle emotionally, but they have so much on the line. They've got a tie for the Big East Championship right at their grasp.
Plus, they have Virginia coming up in 6 days, so a lot of reasons emotionally why they could be off today. On second down, Mutrin fires it.
A pass was
intended for Derek Crittenden.
So far, I've been impressed with Scott Mutrin. This is the first throw that he's made today that really was not on the target. That ball was a little bit high. Crittenden takes a hard fall onto the ground, but Scott Mutrin has looked impressive to me, particularly for a quarterback that has played only sparingly since the opening game of the year.
He's completed 2 out of 5. He needs one here on 3rd and 8. Miami, did it jump? Or was it drawn off? Miami wanting to blitz there on 3rd and 8.
The right guard, Mark Norrie, flinched a little bit, drew the Miami defense off.
Roderick Mack comes in at linebacker for Miami, number 51. And it's 3rd and long for the Eagles. Roderick Mack, a freshman from Miami with 2 interceptions already this year. He's made big things happen when he comes into the game. No relation to Tremaine Mack, who was back there at strong safety. 3rd and 13. Holmes coming after him. And he gets his 2nd sack of the first quarter.
Boston College is going to have to change their protection scheme to take care of Kenny Holmes. He's just too good of a pass rusher. He's working against 89 Todd Pollock, who's a tight end by nature, and Todd Pollock can't match up against Kenny Holmes in that case.
Malicki to punt. Beautiful kick, but too far. Didn't want that one at that portion of the field. Miami will bring it out to the 20. It's a doubleheader day here on CBS. Coming up next, Kentucky and Tennessee from Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Peyton Manning has been a little banged up this week. Had an MRI on his knee, but he's going to get the start today. Tennessee and Kentucky. Bill Curry with his curtain call at Kentucky. With 3 straight wins coming in. The Wildcats take on the Volunteers next.
Bill Curry, I hate to see him go out of the coaching profession, but boy, he's got to be proud of the way his team has rallied around him.
McMillan moves the pile for about 2 yards. Markel Blunt got a hold of him.
Jim, you know, you mentioned the Tennessee game. There's going to be a lot of speculation during the next several weeks about Peyton Manning, whether he'll remain at the University of Tennessee or whether he'll come out into the National Football League draft. I really sincerely hope he stays. I've been able to watch Peyton Manning play several games this year. It'd be great if he would stay at the University of Tennessee and lead them to a possible national championship and maybe win the Heisman Trophy himself.
2nd and 8. I think after the loss to Memphis, he will be back for his senior year. Covington to Green right at the 1st down mark. That's good for the 1st down at the 31. So Mutrin scraped up an elbow on that sack by Holmes.
Well, they sure don't want anything to happen to Scott Mutrin. They've had enough problems with Hasselbeck out of the game. They need this guy to stay healthy, and he's taken all the work this week. He's the one that's prepared to play this game against Miami.
1st and 10, Miami with a change at right tackle. Jay Ina out, and Shabaka Abdul-Majid in. McMillan tried to scramble to his feet, but down at the 37. Hovan had a part of that tackle.
One of the things that the offensive coordinator at Miami, Larry Coker, is going to try to do is give Scott Covington high percentage passes. That little out route that he threw was timed. It gave the quarterback a real chance to be successful. He wants to make sure that his quarterback continues to have confidence throughout this game.
A new tailback in there, Edgerrin James, and he gets the pitch. The freshman, and a smooth one. James to the 45. 9-yard run on his first play of the day. Edgerrin James.
Now Miami loves James, number 32, the tailback. They think that he is going to be the next great back in the history of the University of Miami. This is a big back, 220 pounds. He can punish you when he runs. He's got outstanding speed. Look for this guy to be a real star in the future.
He had a 100-yard game against Temple, first of this month. Scooting outside, waiting for the block to unfold. Edgerrin James inside the 30-20 and down at the 11-yard line. A classic example right here why the coaches love this freshman.
Well, the left guard, Carlos Calles, is going to pull around on a little counter play and lead James on this play, and James does an outstanding job of reading the block of 72. Calles here, he just breaks to the clear. I'm surprised that he didn't turn on the afterburners and put this thing down the field a little bit further. He had a chance to make a long touchdown run.
44 yards, though, the longest of his young career. James shakes free for the corner and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Miami.
It's no wonder the Miami coaches are so excited about 32, Edgerrin James. He's a powerful back. Here he just makes a good, tough run. He gets stopped at the line of scrimmage, spins off, and fights the ball into the end zone. What an effort.
His first touchdown at Miami.
It won't be his last, I guarantee.
Nick Crossland with the extra point. They handed the ball to James the last 3 plays. He covered 64 yards. 11 on the last carry, and Miami leads 17-0. Miami, with just 4 seconds to go in the first quarter, leads 17-0.
Well, one of the things that you always look for in a fullback is the ability to block. Carlos Joseph, number 40, he's the man that sprung the initial hold and allowed James to get back to the line of scrimmage, but then it's all James from there. He just works the spin move by the back, ran right over the free safety, Darrell Porter, made an outstanding play.
Crittenton on the return. And that's the one bright spot for Boston College so far, the way they've returned the kicks. They're getting a lot of chances. Miami has scored on all 3 possessions. Leading after the first quarter, 17-0. We'll return to the Orange Bowl after this message and a word from your local station. The Orange Bowl with Miami in front, 17-0. Jim Nance, Terry Donahue, Michelle Tafoya. There's Omari Walker. He set a career high, 158 yards rushing against Notre Dame, only to top it last week with 166 against Temple. First down, Eagles. Butrin. Dangerous pass and incomplete. In and out of the hands of Derek Crittenton. It's update time, so let's send it up the East Coast to our men, Pat O'Brien in New York.
All right, Jim, BYU has gone up 10-0 at Utah on this Brian McKenzie 12-yard touchdown run. It was McKenzie's 10th touchdown of the season. The winner of this game advances to the WAC title game to play in Wyoming on December 7th. Back to our guy, Jim Nance.
You know, Utah had such a promising season until Rice came in and shocked them in a big fashion, 51-10.
Well, and what if BYU ends up the season 13-1? What will that do to the bowl picture?
Walker with a carry that netted a 1-yard loss. My thought on that, Terry, is you know, certainly a lot of things can happen between now and December the 8th when the Alliance Bowls will be figured out. But my hunch is BYU is going to be left out of the Alliance and will end up in the Cotton Bowl.
Do you really think?
I really think so.
Well, it'd be a real blow for LaVell Edwards and his coaches and team. 13-1, and you don't get into the Alliance. That's tough.
I think right now it's Notre Dame and Penn State as the two at-larges. There are only two from outside the conferences that you can pick. Mutrin on 3rd and long. Walker. Oh, what a tackle. Kenny Holmes again, feasting on Boston College as he did a year ago when he blocked 2 field goals and actually got a hand on a 3rd field goal try also.
Well, Kenny Holmes is a player that just seems to play at another level against Boston College. Amari Walker does an outstanding job of blocking him. Then all of a sudden, he feels the screen. He feels the screen. He looks around, and then he breaks up on that ball and tackles Amari Walker. That play was not designed to go to Amari Walker.
Malicki into the breeze this time, fielded by Starks at the 30. Oh, what a nice tackle downfield by Mike Cloud, the backup tailback. Ice Wars, the USA versus the world. Coverage coming on Thanksgiving Day at 2:30 Eastern time. Then Friday night coverage at 9, featuring Brian Boitano and Paul Wiley from the United States. Take on the world team with Katarina Witt and Kurt Browning. McMillan has returned to the backfield. Edgerrin James, so brilliant, with 3 carries for 64 yards and a touchdown. Certain to see more action today, but McMillan the starter. Green out to the 40.
You know, Jim, I was mentioning earlier, that's a simple little call by Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator, but it gives Covington a chance to hit a 2-yard pass. Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator, he hits the ball, 2-yard pass, and then a great athlete like Yatil Green takes it up the field for another 2 or 3 yard gain. All of a sudden you're sitting there and you're in 2nd and 3 or 2nd and 4, and you've given your quarterback some confidence. The more balls a quarterback hits, the faster his confidence grows in a game.
The sports management major from Laguna Niguel, California, hands off to James. Stork trying to get him. He broke away. That's another fine run. It only gains about 4 yards, but could have been about a 5-yard loss.
Well,
he's a glider, isn't he?
Well, there's no question that Storrs from Boston College had him wrapped up. Coaches talk about this as just being a tough run where you don't have good blocking. You just have to make something happen on your own. That's why you go out and you recruit great running backs. They can turn no play into a positive game.
First down, Miami. No flag. Just straight ahead. James for about 3 yards. Covington with a pretty coy cadence. He's already drawn him off a couple of times today.
Covington's voice has been a problem for Boston College. Even though he didn't draw Boston College off that time, he made him recoil. They came across the line of scrimmage, jumped back, had to start all over again. That takes away your aggressiveness as a defensive lineman. He's doing an outstanding job with his voice.
Covington 3 out of 4 passing for 90 yards and the touchdown. They covered 76 yards to Gator. Here's Gator again. Juking, freeing himself for a first down all the way to the 42-yard line. This is a guy who Butch Davis told us it's an injustice he didn't get to play wide receiver his whole career.
Well, he's been moved from running back to wide receiver, but this is what you want to do. Give the ball to a guy who can make yards after the catch. Right there, the pass is for no gain, but because he has running ability, he can take the ball and move the chains for you. Boston College's biggest concern defensively was yards after the catch.
Bill Almazian, their defensive coordinator, talked about that this week. James,
look at this guy.
Oh, he is really hungry today. Advances the football inside of the 40. Virginia Tech has scored on a touchdown pass to move ahead 10-0.
Missouri, Kansas. I was in that game for 4 years when I coached at the University of Kansas. I'll tell you, there's no love lost between those two.
7, the football of 40.
Yale and Harvard. Carmen Cose's last game for 32 years. retiring after today.
What a contribution he made in college football. And what a great guy.
Second down, screen, James, and diving near the first.
Throws complete to James. Number 44,
Great backs are gifted with certain things. Vision is one thing, and cutting ability is another. When you get a screen pass, you've got to be able to plant and cut and turn the ball immediately up the field. That's what James can do. He plants, cuts, and gets the ball north and south, falls forward for positive yardage.
Will measure for the first down. He took a screen pass against Temple, did Edgerrin James, and he ran 69 yards with the football. So he's broken a couple of big plays before today. They were hoping to redshirt him this year, Terry, but Danielle Ferguson knocked out with an injury for the rest of the year, a dislocated hip, and they needed to activate him for the November 2nd game against Temple when he lost the year.
That's always tough on a head coach when you're trying to make a decision to save a guy's eligibility, or you have to play him. In this case, the injury necessitated taking him off the bench and letting him play. But in the long run, it may be the best thing for him because he's gaining invaluable playing experience this year. And next year, he'll be a much better player as a result. And redshirting generally doesn't give you that on-the-field experience that you need so much.
The ball put in the play at the BC 33. Miami already leading 17-0 and driving, looking for more. James slashing down to the 25. Good block by Mike Weiner.
Again, it's a little counterplay that Miami has been running thus far this afternoon, and James has a real feel for hiding behind those lead blockers and then dipping up into the creases of the defense.
He's playing like he's going to earn a start for next week's game against Syracuse.
He's serious about this, but you know, think if you're Miami, you can rest him after a while, come back with McMillan, and keep pounding on the defense.
That's the first time he's been shut down. You know, Miami has a yardstick for rushing with a phenomenal winning percentage. I'm talking about 150 yards. They gain 150 yards on the ground. They've won their last 54 games. That dates back to the Boston College game 12 years ago. That's the last time they gained over 150 yards in a regular season game and lost.
And not only that, it fits in perfectly with what Butch Davis likes to do. He wants Miami to be a physical running team. He wants some balance, but he wants to be able to take advantage of that big offensive line.
On 2nd and 9, Covington, again with the play clock running down, has to use a timeout. We'll be right back. You know, Terry, we were talking a moment ago about the 150-yard rushing performances by Miami, leading to 54 straight wins in the regular season. They've already amassed 153 yards on the ground, and we're just early in the second quarter.
Well, one of the reasons is because of that center they have in there playing, Casey Jones. He's a semifinalist for the Lombardi Trophy. A lot of people think he may be the best center in the country.
2nd and 9. Covington with protection. And that pass will only gain about 1. James with the reception. Reckley on the hit. How about Covington's play so far?
Well, I think two things. I think, number one, the coaches have done an excellent job taking pressure off of him, relying on the outstanding line they have in the running backs, letting him hit high percentage passes. And all of a sudden, he's off to a real positive start. He is a confident athlete. Coming in off the bench last week against Virginia Tech, he showed that confidence. He has the poise of a starting quarterback, even though he's been a backup his entire career.
3rd and 9. Trent Jones comes into the backfield. He's blocking for the quarterback, and that's an incompletion intended for Yatil Green. They'll bring out Andy Crossland for a field goal try.
Yatil Green is one of the players that Covington feels best about getting the ball to. He is the most athletic, the most physical of the wide receivers. It's a little timing route. He just loses his feet, falls down. Covington put the ball where it needed to be.
Popovich on the hold for Andy Crossland, who's already connected from 27 yards. This one a 41-yard attempt. Andy Crossland, no good. Wide right. 17-0 Hurricanes second quarter. And we'll return to the Orange Bowl after this word from your local station. 41-yard try missed by Crossland. What happened, Terry?
Well, anytime you try to kick a field goal or PAT, you need a good snap, a good hold, which in this case it was. You need to protect your kicker, and then your kicker's got to perform. Crossland just hooked this ball a little bit to the right. That's a kick that he's very capable of making. He just didn't hit the ball the way he needed to hit it.
So Boston College takes over, 24-yard line, trailing 17-0. One possession in Miami territory that ended in a punt. Mutrin, right side, almost intercepted. Looking for DeCosmo, and Carlos Jones was with him all the way. Jones is a senior from Louisiana who was a former All-Big East cornerback, but lost his starting job this year.
Well, Scott Mutrin threw this ball into double coverage. This is a pass that he would like to have back. This was not open to DeCosmo. DeCosmo is his favorite receiver, but you can't throw to your favorite receiver when he's covered like that guy was covered.
2nd and 10. Play action. Mutrin zips it to Pollock for a first down. So football at the 39, we'll call it. Gain of 15. Let's go down to the sideline and join Michelle Tafoya. All right, we'll get back to Michelle in a moment. Work out some of the gremlins, and we'll pick it up with BC at the 39. The rollout, Mutrin. Last moment to DeCosmo. Good improvising by the quarterback. DeCosmo with the catch at the 32. There is a flag down.
That was Scott Mutrin's best play of the game thus far. As you mentioned, Jim, he really improvised on that particular play. He got himself out of trouble and found an open receiver, his favorite guy. Once again, DeCosmo, he found him. And Miami was guilty of holding. Miami had come on the blitz to try to put heat on him. It's a little counter bootleg pass. And right here is where he avoids the rush, cocks his arm, and finds DeCosmo down the field for the completion. That's his play of the game thus far.
29-yard completion.
First down.
Kennard Lang comes out at defensive end. Booker Pickett replaces him for Miami. DeCosmo staying with his quarterback too. He had to pick himself off the ground, and
you know, the timing between Mutrin and DeCosmo can't be all that great. They haven't worked together as a team, a starting team all season long, so they're trying to come uphill with it, and they're doing a good job.
Quarterback draw, and Mutrin picks up a big chunk down to the 20.
Well, this is a well-designed play by Dan Henning and the Boston College coaching staff. It's a quarterback draw. The right guard, Mark Norrie, is the one who pulls around and makes a key block, number 71. But look at the eyes of the quarterback trying to find the lane to put that ball into. Finally, he does, protects the ball, gets it upfield, gets his shoulder pads down, gets hit by Tremaine Mack there. That's not the guy you really want to get hit by, but makes a good positive yardage.
His longest run of the season, a 12-yard keep. Boston College's first threat, and Walker denied and dropped for a 3-yard loss by Chad Pegues.
Chad Pegues, number 94, in the middle of the screen is the one. He comes off the block. He fights the block of the center. Brian O'Connor comes back against it and makes that play. That's the way you want your inside tackles to play, and the inside tackle position has been a big problem for Miami's defense this year. They haven't been the anchor points that they needed them to be.
Second down. Mutrin going to DeCosmo. Caught for a touchdown. Touchdown, Boston College. Dwayne Starks wanted an offensive interference call. There was some pushing and shoving, but DeCosmo comes away with it. 24-yard strike for a score.
The key to any pass is you've got to start with protection. Amari Walker picked up the blitz, gave the quarterback time at least to get the ball launched. Then it's one-on-one, athlete against athlete. DeCosmo goes up and catches the ball at its highest point. That's why Boston College thinks he's really one of the premier receivers they've had in a long time.
You know, he now has 36 catches on the season. Does DeCosmo? Oh, extra point goes awry, but there is a flag. There is a flag. Miami may have jumped. Tremaine Mack, so skilled at blocking kicks, 9 in his career.
Tremaine Mack talked to us last night about why he blocks so many kicks. He comes out in the pregame warm-up, watches the center snap the ball.
We have an offside penalty on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Free kick from the 1.5-yard line.
They're going to go for 2 now.
They probably will go for 2 now. They're going to move it up. But Tremaine Mack, he's a guy that watches that snap and then tries to get his jump. The key to the blocks that he's had 9 blocks in his career. The key has been the jump that he gets off on the snap. He studies those guys. That's what's made him a great player.
Now for the 2-point try. Neutron fakes the dive to Walker, and he's going to dive for it himself. He'll walk in for the 2.
Good decision by Dan Henning and the coaching staff.
Neutron threw for 68 yards on that drive. The catch by DeCosmo was his first touchdown of the season. Good fake here.
And here it is. He gets his pads down and puts it in the end zone for BC. When people refer to bump coverage, they're talking about a defensive back line and right up on the nose of a wide receiver going man-to-man against him. This is a case of Dwayne Starks against DeCosmo. He just falls and gets beat by a superior athletic move by DeCosmo. It's his first collegiate touchdown. He came into the game with a number of receptions, 34 at the start of the day. He's got 36 now. First touchdown. He's going to remember it because not only is it first, it's against Miami.
Tremaine Mack, here he is, the nation's leading kick returner. 36 yards of return. And there's why. Oh, wow, is that a burst of speed? A 40-yard run back, so above the average.
Anytime you kick a ball to a guy like Tremaine Mack, you've got to make sure your coverage lanes are sound. Boston College has a crease in their coverage lane. Tremaine Mack sees it, he hits it to the outside, and then uses his speed and athleticism to hit that crease for that return. Gives Miami outstanding field position to start this drive.
Mack, a junior from Tyler, Texas, home of the Tyler Rose, Earl Campbell. First down carry by Trent Jones, who started last week at tailback. And Jones out to the 48. So this is the 3rd different tailback we've seen for Miami.
And all of them look impressive. One of the primary reasons is because that offensive line, led by Casey Jones, they're dominating the line of scrimmage right now. All 5 of the offensive linemen for Miami returned from last year. So last year's woes are this year's blessing, if you will.
Casey Jones, a 4-year starter at center. He'll snap it to Covington from the 49. 2nd down and 3. Jones close to the 1st.
Jones rushes for the Canes.
You know, and going back to Casey Jones, when you and I were visiting with him last night, he talked about, I asked him who the best football player he played against in his career was, and he thought for a while. He said, I played against a lot of good ones, but the best I had to play against was Warren Sapp, who I had to block in practice all the time. And when you're blocking a player like Warren Sapp, you get better. And Casey Jones got better because he was playing against one of the best in Miami history in Warren Sapp, day in and day out.
3rd and short, and that picks up the 1st down. Jones again getting the work on this series.
Up the middle.
So Jones running it, Casey Jones blocking for him.
And eventually, as you mentioned, this is going to take a toll against Boston College's defense when you can alternate 3 fresh tailbacks, keep pounding at them with McMillan, come back with Jones, come back with James. All of a sudden, in the second half particularly, that wears your defense down. Those fresh backs with fresh legs.
That's what Notre Dame did with Denson and Farmer and Kinder 2 weeks ago. Covington zips it, man open, caught at the 25. Magic Benton. Magic Benton opened up this season with some phenomenal games. First 3 were over 100 yards, but has really fizzled out since then.
Scott Covington finds him on the sideline, puts the ball a little bit high, but Magic Benton goes up, extends for that ball, catches it at its highest point, pulls it in. That is an excellent reception. Miami has been waiting for Magic Benton to do that for several games.
Backup offensive line in there now with Caillas, Perry, and Jay Johnson. So 3 subs on the offensive line for the Hurricanes on this drive.
Miami likes to rotate those offensive linemen.
False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
They always like to put in their second string line, except they leave Casey Jones in there. They know who the center of that line is and where they need to be stable. They want the snap to the quarterback to be secure. They leave Casey Jones in there.
Stalin Collinet shaken up, and they can't afford to be without him. Jones for about 2.
Jones rushes for the Canes.
Miami has been moving the football. First 3 possessions ended in scores, and then the last one a missed field goal try.
Well, and they've been moving it the way Butch Davis likes to move it. Running the ball, dominating the line of scrimmage, taking time off the clock, and not having to put the whole game on your quarterback athlete.
2nd and 13. Covington has completed 7 of 9 today for 125 yards and a touchdown. There's his 8th completion. Nick Williams. He's a good receiver out of the backfield.
Well, and Nick Williams last week against Virginia Tech had an outstanding first half, then kind of fell silent in the second half. Covington just found him out of the backfield there, threw the ball, perfect strike. Nick Williams is a 270-pound fullback. Now, how would you like that guy isolating on you, or if you're a 185-pound defensive back trying to come up and tackle that guy?
The Mountaineers with a touchdown in Blacksburg, Virginia, 10-7 Hokies. Here it's 3rd and 1. And again, a little mix-up on the exchange that, well, will cost them.
That's just the inexperience of Covington not being the starting quarterback and having to work with backs that he just hasn't been with on a regular basis in game competition. Williams, the fullback, may have been a little tight on his route. Covington may have been a little tight on his route. I'm not sure, but I am sure that those kinds of mix-ups are what drives a coaching staff crazy when you're in 3rd and 1.
Well, they survive it. Williams able to fall for the first. First down from the 15. Covington to the end zone. Good pass. Touchdown, Miami. Mondrell Fulcher.
Mondrell Fulcher, he's a tight end by position, but by nature, he's a wide receiver. Covington finds him on a little post corner route to the outside, lays the ball up beautifully, and Fulcher goes up and takes it and puts it away for the score.
Crossland, PAT, good. 24-8 Miami. Scott Covington, 9 of 11 for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. I've been waiting 3 years to show them what I can do.
Mondrell Fulcher lines up at tight end. He's just going to run a little post corner. He's going to release to the outside, fake inside, and then break to the corner. Scott Covington, with great protection, throws the ball outside where only one person can get it. That's his tight end, Fulcher. Heck of a throw by Covington. He's been impressive thus far in the game.
Covington with 2 touchdown passes.
Hey, who knows, Jim? If Covington keeps playing like this, Miami may have a controversy at quarterback next week for the Syracuse game.
Right. Washington will down it. You know, Ryan Clement statistically has had a very strong year with 15 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, 10th overall in the nation.
Hitting over 60% of his passes. He's a fiery leader. He's just one of the guys. He gets right in their faces. But you have to give Covington his due credit. Here he is in his first start. The guy comes out in impressive fashion. He has felt all along that he should be the quarterback. I've been through that with players. It's a difficult situation for Butch Davis and Larry Coker, the offensive coordinator at Miami, to solve. It's a nice problem to have, though. 2 good players.
Amari Walker straight ahead for 11.
Rushes for the Eagles.
Amari Walker is a player who described himself as a straight-ahead power runner, somebody who likes to punish the defense. He says, I prefer to run over him rather than run around him, and right there, he punishes the Miami defense. He's the leading rusher in the Big East Conference.
Zeroaway second in the league in rushing. But Walker, the only one over 1,000. He has 24 yards today on 7 attempts. Crittenden with a catch for a short gain. Mutrin starting to warm up. He was 3 out of 4 passing on that touchdown drive the last time they had the football for 68 yards and a score.
I think that BC has the ability to move the ball on this Miami defense. They're spreading them out. There's some seams in the Miami secondary, and Scott Mutrin will begin to find those seams the longer he plays.
Mutrin, tough pass that time, looking for Guazo.
Third down, 4.
There's an injured player on the field. Another Boston College player down. Single season rushing totals. Well, if Walker had a phenomenal day today, such as 218 yards, he would have set the single season rushing mark. Although, because BC opened the season over at Hawaii, they get an extra game. You go over to Hawaii, you play there, they give you 12 games instead of 11 in the regular season.
Well, you know, in visiting with Amari Walker, I was just so impressed. He's one of the 4 captains for Boston College. And one of the reasons that Boston College has been able to keep this thing together during all the turmoil and problems, Amari Walker is married. He's the father of 2 children. And people at Boston College say that he's a father figure to many of the players on the team because of his leadership and maturity. And here's a guy that has really helped, along with the other 3 captains, to keep this ship afloat for Dan Henning and the coaching staff. You got to respect a guy like that. He's got character. He cares about Boston College. The whole incident really hurt a lot of the kids on the team at BC, Amari Walker being one of them.
Some of the guys from Boston College had suggested that they would approach this game against Miami like it was their bowl game, since it's the last game of the regular season. But Amari Walker said, this is no bowl game. I've been to 2 bowls. This is no bowl game. Bowl game is a reward. This is a business trip.
You're right. And he said the business was to come down and whip Miami so we could finish the season 6-6.
Let's go down to the sidelines to Michelle.
All right, while we're waiting for this injury update, just in addition to Amari Walker's story, he said earlier in the season he was really frustrated with his limited playing time. He even considered leaving the football team but staying at Boston College. He had a tenuous relationship with Dan Henning. In fact, the day after Walker ran for 143 yards against Navy, it's reported that Henning walked up to him and said, I'm still going to find a replacement for you. I haven't found him yet, but I'm going to. Now, since that time, the 2 have obviously worked out their differences, and Amari Walker says he is definitely coming back to play for this team next year, and he hopes that Henning is too. Guys?
Yeah, they've certainly worked out their differences, and has great respect for Dan Henning now and the way Henning handled the entire situation during the gambling scandal.
You know, and sometimes in a coaching relationship, there's just a lack of communication, if you will. I've been in that situation myself where players thought I felt one way, and I really didn't feel like that at all. And I think that's how Dan Henning was. When he said that to Amari Walker, what Michelle reported, and she's 100% right, Amari Walker took it negatively. I think Dan Henning meant it as a motivational factor. Hey, I'm going to find somebody to replace you. 147 is not enough. We want 200 out of you. But their relationship was strained, but Amari Walker certainly has a great deal of respect for Dan Henning.
Dan Oriskovich is the injured player, their starting left tackle, and a senior. He was matched up against Kenny Holmes. And afraid that foot might have gotten planted and twisted, and he's still receiving attention on the field. Boston College team that, you move beyond the 13 players suspended 2 weeks ago, and you've got a starting quarterback out with injury. Their leading receiver, Kenyatta Watson, who had hoped to play today, out with injury. Their place kicker, who had made 16 field goals, out for the season. Their starting center, injured, not able to play the last 2 games.
Every time a Boston College player goes down, you really have great feelings of sorrow for the coaches and the rest of the team, because they just don't have the players to back them up. Andy Mitchum, number 60 for Boston College, he's the backup to Oriskovich. He also is the backup for 4 of the positions on the offensive line. This guy has to go in and play 4 positions. That's how thin the Boston College football team is.
They made the trip down here to Miami with only 59 players, 50 scholarship players. And with Oriskovich now about to be carried off the field, we'll take a timeout. We'll be right back.
Experience for everybody, coaches and players alike.
Andy Mitchum has replaced him on the left side, and it's 3rd and 4 for the Eagles. And as you might expect, just completely shut down coming out of that. I don't know how you regroup as a team.
Oh, that's hard, particularly in a 3rd and 4 situation. You don't even get to start with a new series of downs, but the rhythm of the game will come back. The players will get back into the rhythm of the game here very quickly. All players react to these things about the same. You get stunned for a while when you see that kind of an injury, but then you get back into the rhythm and you start playing hard again.
Dwayne Starks waiting for the kick from Jason Malicki. Kicking into a breeze.
Delay the game by the kicking team.
It's a smart move.
5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
By Dan Henning. He tried to take some time off the clock. Miami didn't use a timeout to stop the clock, and Dan Henning just let it expire so his defense has less time to play. It's a good move. You give up 5 yards of field position, but what's more valuable to you right now is time.
Just 1:14 remaining in the first half. You know, this wind you're kicking into, that Miami is likely to be set up. Good field position. You saw Tremaine Mack trying to get the angle on the block, and there they go. Miami's blocked another kick, and it goes out of bounds at the 18. Earl Little chased it out of bounds. It may have been Jack Holman on the block. That is the 19th block of a field goal or punt for a Butch Davis team in his 21 games as the head coach.
Well, Jack Holman right there, number 44, comes unblocked. Boston College didn't pick him up. He laid out for the kicker's foot, just like the coaches teach you. The frustration in Miami right now, they knew they had a chance to scoop that ball up for the touchdown.
Yeah, Earl Little said, wait a minute, I should have had that one.
He knew it. He knew he had 6 written all over that.
Little ran one back off a Mack block against Temple for a touchdown. So with 69 seconds, Covington looking to the end zone again, and almost Magic Benton had his fingers on it. Tim Davis on the coverage. Looked like a catchable ball first glance, Terry.
Well, Magic Benton ran down the middle of the defense against man coverage. He just tried to outrun the defensive back, which he did. He came inside, just didn't get his head around quite fast enough to catch that ball. You know, the accuracy of Covington's been impressive. The ball has been around where it's supposed to be on almost every throw.
It's only his 3rd incompletion. He's 9 for 12. Porter is going to be called for interference. He had his back turned on the quarterback. Chris Jones was the target. Chris Jones was the intended target.
Chris Jones was trying to break into the middle of the BC secondary, and when he did, Darrell Porter collided with him. It's a clear case of interference.
Defensive pass interference foul in the end zone. It'll be a first down from the 2-yard line.
That'll advance the football to the 2. With 1 minute exactly remaining in the second quarter. Covington 152 yards in the air. Fumble. Wisely falling on it. Quarterback at the 9.
That is a result of oftentimes either a new quarterback working with a new center, and in this case a lineman who was pulling knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hand. The left guard, as he pulled, Mercier, he's the one that knocked the ball out of the quarterback's hands.
Michelle Tafoya has more on Dan Oreskovich's situation. Michelle, what's the story?
I do, Jim. They say he has a potential neck injury, possibly a lower spinal cord injury, and so they've sent him to the hospital locally for some x-rays. He was exhibiting tingling in his face, legs, and arms. However, when they started to spine board him, his symptoms somewhat subsided, but they did feel it was necessary to take him to the hospital. They were not able to remove his helmet, again for precautionary reasons, but they did remove his face mask, and as he was being carted off the field, Jim, he told one of our production associates, he sought him out and said, "Tell everyone I'll be okay." Jim?
Wow. Thank you, Michelle. Going to Health South Medical Center here in Miami.
Well, all we can do, Jim, is send our best wishes to he and his family and hope and pray that everything's all right.
You know, here in Miami, they have a phenomenal group of doctors that work on spinal cord injuries, the Miami Project, under Dr. Barth Green's supervision, and all started by the Bonacani family after Mark Bonacani suffered a spinal cord injury in a college football game 10 years ago. They're making great strides at the Miami Project, as they say, to cure paralysis. Wouldn't we all love to see that? What a great cause. Miami Project. Here's the 2nd and goal. Pass intended for Daphnis, who caught a touchdown last year against Boston College. An update on that Virginia Tech West Virginia game, and a touchdown by the Hokies before halftime puts them up 10, 17-7. I want to point out something here as Miami faces 3rd and goal from the 9. They had a disappearing act last week against Virginia Tech right before the half, right next to the goal line. Came away empty.
Right before the half, there was a lot of confusion and dispute about what they should do with the ball, whether they should kick a field goal, score the touchdown. But Miami's not been great in the scoring zone the last couple weeks.
In the end zone, caught for a moment by Green and then deflected on impact by Tim Davis.
What you want to do is get the ball into your best player's hands. Yatil Green is the best wide receiver at Miami. He runs a little fade route, and the ball was underthrown by Covington just a little bit. He had to come back for it. When he did, he got knocked loose from it by Tim Davis, number 27.
This is just like last week, where they missed a 22-yarder before that. 26 yards, can they make it? No! Identical. Deja vu.
Mackerel. I'm telling you what now, Butch Davis is not going to take this lightly. I know he's up 24-8, but he has a chance to put this game away in the first half. Crossland has got to be able to make those kicks for him.
Almost a carbon copy to what happened last week. Crossland missed a 22-yard try, and again it was right.
Well, what happens to you as a coach, you want to give your kicker confidence. You want to be able to support him, but at the same time, he's in a zone there that he needs to make that kick. Your first string kicker has got to be able to put those points on the board for your offensive team.
Walker for 5, and you know that had to be in his mind.
Oh, it had to be.
Been talked about all week around Miami, the blown opportunity that really hurt them in their loss to Virginia Tech right before halftime.
And he can make that kick, and kicking is so much confidence. The kickers are on an island by themselves. It's a tough position to be in, but you got to have a guy that you can count on in that situation. Andy Crossland's a better kicker than that. He's proven that in the past. He'll bounce back. He's a competitor, but he's got to be able to make those.
Yeah, he made 10 of his first 11 this season.
I know he was hot as he could be.
Now he's only 1 out of his last 4, Terry, over the last 2 weeks. Or actually 1 of his last 5. That's the end of the first half. The score, Miami 24, BC 8. Pat O'Brien, Craig James, Danny Sheridan coming along after this message and a word from your local station.
Sponsored by Selsun Blue, doctors recommended #1 for dandruff. Dean Witter. There are many ways to measure success. We measure it one investor at a time. And by Norelco Reflex Action Razor. Anything closer could be too close for comfort.
Jim, where's it coming?
We start the second half here in Miami, 24-8. Boston College will have the football to begin the third quarter. And they have Kenyatta Watson back to receive the kick. He has missed the last 3 games because of a deep thigh bruise. A nifty wide receiver. See if he gets a chance to touch the football. Kick coming to Watson from the 1. Oh, yes. Across the 30. 34-yard run back.
Kickoff returns has been one of the highlights for Boston College today, and I mean that in all sincerity. They have been able to start with good field position throughout the course of the day.
They've gotten a few more opportunities than they hoped for, though.
That's probably really right. Yeah, really.
Let's talk about things here for the second half. And the 2 quarterbacks, I thought, played commendable first half there.
Well, I think you've got to be impressed with the way Scott Covington and Scott Mutrin played. Both had good first halves. They didn't turn the ball over. They were able to hit the passes that the coaches asked them to do. And, you know, one of the keys is not turning the ball over. That keeps you in a game. That keeps you alive.
So Mari Walker gets the carry. And the first half numbers, Miami piling up some big yardage totals. 314 total yards for the Hurricanes in the first half.
Well, and the most important stat there is the rushing yardage. That is what Miami wants to do. Take the pressure off of Scott Covington. Put the pressure on the offensive line.
Scott Mutrin and Boston College now face a second down situation. 2nd and 7. Kenyatta Watson's in the game. There's a pass to Pollock inside the 50 down to the 41. Todd Pollock gaining 21 yards on that reception. There's not been another update from the Boston College people on Dan Oreskovich's situation. Sent to a local hospital, Health South Medical Center. Carted off the field late in the first half. 1st and 10 BC. Mutrin with time, dumps it to Watson. And hit right away by Chad Pegues. Check in again on the sidelines with Michelle Tafoya. Michelle?
Jim, following up on what you just said on Dan Oreskovich, as you mentioned, no update yet. They expect to have one early in the 4th quarter, and we'll certainly bring it to you. When he left the field, he had tingling sensations in his face, hands, and arms, which is indicative of a possible neck or spinal cord injury, as we told you before the half. But he was feeling better after they put him on the spine board. Those symptoms were subsiding, Jim.
Well, our thoughts are certainly with him. 2nd down and 6. Walker short of the first by a couple of yards, maybe 3. He got to the 36 before Twan Russell wrapped him up. First half, you know, Mutrin now adding the numbers here in the second half, completing 60% with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Well, Covington also.
This is what impresses me the most, is when you throw the ball and you have touchdowns and no interceptions. As a coach, that gives you the confidence to keep reloading and firing it away.
3rd down, 3rd and 4. Mutrin unloads it. And that final hit by Russell may have knocked him across the 1st down yardage. He's very close. Tremaine Mack and Twan Russell double teamed him. Russell with a hit, though, may have pushed Pollock across for the first down.
Twan Russell and James Burgess, two of the better defenders at Miami, converged to make this hit. The quarterback always takes a little bit of a shot right there.
It was Burgess coming in on Mutrin. So they'll measure here. Will it be 4th and inches or first down BC? Nose of the football touching the marker. That's a first down for Boston College.
Game was 5 yards.
Michigan has inched closer to Ohio State, now 9-7 in the third. The Buckeyes lead. This young man, quarterback Scott Mutrin from the Cleveland area, recruited by every school in the Big Ten to play football but Ohio State.
Yeah, that was interesting last night when he talked about that and said that, you know, Ohio State was really his first choice if they had recruited him, but when they didn't, he decided to go to Boston College because of their degree. He thought it was a real meaningful degree that he could get from the university.
Mutrin said he'd be pulling for the Buckeyes to keep their perfect season intact. He has a couple of high school teammates play now for Coach John Cooper.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Jim, I'm pulling for the Buckeyes too. John Cooper really kept me in college coaching along with Pepper Rogers. If it hadn't been for Pepper Rogers and John Cooper, I would have never been in college coaching because John let me live in his house when I went to work for Pepper Rogers in Kansas. He and his wife Helen kept me in their house for 2 weeks, gave me a place to lay my head, so I'm indebted to him forever.
2nd down and 10. Mutrin going long. DeCosmo, what a catch! No, they don't give it to him. Oh. Out of bounds, they say. Oh, what an acrobatic grab by DeCosmo.
DeCosmo really lays out to get this ball. It's an excellent play by Boston College. They flow away from DeCosmo. All of the defense goes. He's working one-on-one, gets him turned and goes to the outside and then lays it out for the pass, but he's out of bounds.
Oh, I think that's 6. He touched the pylon as he made the catch.
Let's watch it.
Channel 6.
Well, I tell you, that's a tough call, Jim. But look to me like he had the ball in his possession and the ball crossed the goal line.
What a throw by Mutrin.
Yeah,
that was not an easy pass, and DeCosmo landed on his shoulder.
Oh boy. BC just cannot afford to lose this guy.
BC will face 3rd and 10. Timeout on the field. We'll be right back. DeCosmo escorted to the BC locker room injured on this attempted catch that still looks like it may have been a touchdown to me.
Well, the whole question is possession. Does he have possession when he crosses the plane of the goal line? The ball is moving around. The official's right there on the spot. I think it's a good call. I think it's a great effort by DeCosmo.
3rd and 10 from the Miami 33. Mutrin tries the quarterback draw again. He's a yard short of the first, maybe 2. Now Dan Henning will face 4th and 2, down 24-8.
Doug Brzezinski, the left guard for Boston College, he pulls around and leads Scott Mutrin on the quarterback draw, makes an excellent block there. That's what allows the quarterback draw to work, that kind of interior blocking design.
He's not going to go for the first down. He's going to kick the field goal. Chris Hackett with his first career attempt. John Manich out with a kidney bruise. Hackett from 42 yards. And a beauty. Boston College takes the football to start the second half and tacks on 3, 24-11, Miami. And a salute to Chris Hackett, who connects from 42 yards on his first college field goal try. Marcus Wimberly, one of the deep returners, along with Tremaine Mack. He's had one run back today for 40 yards. They stay away from him, kick it short, assuring the Hurricanes of good starting position. Dennis Scott takes it to the 40, and we have more updates from the sideline with Michelle.
All right, medical updates. First on Anthony DeCosmo, Jim. They have taken him into the locker room because he landed on his sternum. It knocked the wind out of him, and then he started to complain of left shoulder pain. The good news is on Dan Oroskovich, the left tackle who was taken to the hospital. Preliminary x-rays are negative, guys, and they'll keep him there for extra review.
That is great news.
Boy, that's great news.
Thank you, Michelle. And here goes Daryl McMillan. Daryl Porter cuts off the angle and takes him out at the 30-yard line after a race of 29 yards.
When you give a tailback that has vision the ball deep in the backfield, it allows him to hit the creases in the defense. The big push is by the offensive line. He finds the crease, breaks a tackle. The only guy on the field that can stop him is Daryl Porter, and he does. Game-saving tackle or touchdown-saving tackle on that play.
Markel Blunt, though, should have had him near the line of scrimmage. Went too high on the little back. Who gets the football again and maybe gets a yard. Daryl Porter in on the play again. Daryl Porter, the leading tackler for Boston College, coming up from his free safety commercial. And Virginia Tech now leading by 17.
That surprises me, Jim. I really thought that Virginia Tech would have a kind of a natural letdown playing West Virginia. West Virginia's a good team this year, and I really thought they'd beat them.
Frank Beamer's name has been linked to several jobs around the country, including Minnesota.
As well it should be. He has done a marvelous job at Virginia Tech.
Second down, Covington. Gator doing a little one-on-one business over there. Markel Blunt was defending. Again, in the Big East, Virginia Tech, Miami, and Syracuse. Miami holds on for victory here, and then next week the Hurricanes were to win a game at Syracuse. It would be a three-way tie for the conference crown. And the way they break a three-way tie for the Alliance berth, which will likely be a berth right here in the Orange Bowl in Miami, which can be played, by the way, up at Pro Player Park, would be the team with the best ranking, the two polls combined. Covington connects with Williams down at the 15 with a first down.
Well, and the interesting thing is the difference in some of the polls when you look at Virginia Tech. They're ranked much higher in the coaches poll than they are in the AP poll. There's a real disparity there, and I think the reason for that is coaches have an appreciation for a program that's won 18 out of 19 games. I don't care who you're playing. You win 18 out of 19, you're pretty good. And the writers on the West Coast, most of them don't even know where Virginia Tech is. They haven't heard anything about them. So I think that's where the disparity comes from.
McMillan out of bounds at the 10. What could really make it interesting, there's a flag on that play. You end up with the three-way tie under the scenario we mentioned. Miami winning at Syracuse next week. But Virginia Tech still has a non-conference game to play against feisty Virginia. And if they lost to the Cavaliers there, it would drop in the poll, and Miami might elevate a bunch of positions in the poll with a win over Syracuse. It could make things interesting for that Alliance berth.
No question. If all that happens, it's really going to send the Big East into a real tailspin.
A holding foul on the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Holding against Miami. If there's a two-way tie now.
Head-to-head competition. Then the team that's beating the other team, they're the one that will represent the conference in the Alliance, and that's the way it should be.
Syracuse already defeated Virginia Tech. We were there for that one, Terry. But Tech came back and beat Miami last week. From the 25. Covington, man open, it's Williams. And the big fullback down at the 11 with 8:50 remaining third quarter. That's a 14-yard pass play.
Miami just ran a little flood route, slipped the fullback out into the flat. The tight end, the wide receiver to that side, ran him off. It created a soft spot in the defense for the big fullback, Nick Williams, to slip out and catch the ball. He's a good receiver. You're throwing the ball to a 270-pounder, Jim. I can't get over that. Most guys 270 are playing with their hand down in the line on defense. That guy's running with it and catching it.
Second down and 7. Don't want him running in your direction. Covington swings it over. McMillan, good piece of tackling over there by Rupert English. So it'll be third down, about the 10-yard line. Miami has shut down a few times today at this point. Anthony DeCosmo has returned to the field, but without the pads.
Well, that is a shame, because that is their big play go-to receiver right there. And particularly talking to Scott Mutron, he really liked going to DeCosmo. That was kind of his guy going into this game.
3rd and 5 from the BC 10. Covington to Williams, breaks free, fumbles, picked up by Stores, who now laterals the ball to Porter, and Miami may have it back. It's Boston College football. Boston College has recovered. I tell you, had Porter hung on to that lateral, it may have been 6.
He would have gone all the way with it, it looked like.
Pedro Sereno knocked the football loose, and that's the game's first turnover.
Well, Scott Covington just lays the ball off underneath to the big fullback, Nick Williams, who we talked about how powerful he is. The ball just has a helmet on it. That's what knocks it loose. And all of a sudden, Eric Stores with it. He's not quite sure what to do. He thinks he's playing rugby. Tosses it out there to Porter. And
Porter should have had it.
Oh, if he had it, he'd be in the end zone. Would have been in the end zone. I know he would have.
Stores ran back a fumble off a fake field goal in the Syracuse game for a touchdown. Mutron unloads last minute. Walker just pile driven by Twan Russell, who's had a pinched nerve in his shoulder, and I'll bet you right here he re-aggravated it.
Absolutely. On those kind of hits, that's where your shoulder goes dead. Twan was telling us yesterday about the pain that he has to endure with that pinched nerve every time there's a real powerful blow. Here he lays a hit on him, but you know that that shoulder, that pain went right down that entire arm. He has to come out for a play.
Twan Russell was a high school teammate up in Fort Lauderdale of Darrell Porter of Boston College. They are the leading tacklers for each team.
And Darrell Porter, of course, got to come home and play in front of the hometown here at Miami, and he was as excited about this as any game he's played all year.
Porter, as a high school senior, playing with Twan Russell, ran for 19 touchdowns and 1,200 yards. But unaccustomed to having the football in his hands these days, and had a touchdown chance denied with the fumble. Nonetheless, BC escapes without giving up any more points, and they'll face third down, trailing 24-11.
Twan Russell, it was interesting talking to him last night about his desire. He said he just absolutely loves football more than anything he does. And he loves covering kickoffs. If he could play on a kickoff
they
team,
won't let him.
No, particularly they won't let him with a bad shoulder. I don't blame him. That's the one team you don't want him on.
3rd and 6. And the play whistle dead. Hold on, no sack. Mutron has to take the hit for no apparent reason. And I think this call's going against BC. A flag down at the line of scrimmage, and the offensive unit's already heading to the sideline. Twan Russell, you said, loves to play football. NFL scouts take notice. He told us, I would play for free in the NFL.
Well, he won't have to do that. He'll change that attitude once he gets out of college, trust me. But the one thing he will find himself doing, he'll find himself playing on special teams.
False start on the offense. There will be no play. We'll repeat third down. Please add 8 seconds to the field clock.
So the offensive unit, including Scott Mutron, have to come back onto the field. Now, Twan Russell fit in real nice and snug under the salary cap with that kind of attitude.
Well, you're not kidding. They'd all be fighting to get that guy.
So Russell's come back onto the field.
You see a little movement here by the wide receiver Walker.
Kenyatta Watson may have been the one. Watson seeing his first action now in 3 games.
And they need him back in there with the Cosmo out. They need Watson to play and come back for this team.
So they'd already given up on this series, BC, but they'll get another chance. 3rd and 11. Butrin all kinds of time, and the pass too low for Guazzo. Jason Malicki will punt the football downwind.
Well, that was an important defensive series, Jim, for Miami. Boston College came out first series of the second half, scored a field goal. Right there, it was important for Miami to go in and get a stop and get that ball in good field position for their own offense. They don't want to lose the momentum in the second half that they generated in the first.
Oh, Malicki fumbled the snap. It was a perfect snap. Lucky to get it away. And Starks with running room. Starks inside the 40. And brought down by Michael Bullock at the 34. So Miami, with a player down on the field, will take over in BC territory. Earl Little had the wind knocked out of him. He's helped to the sideline. So Craig says Wuerffel, and then Troy Davis and Orlando Pace.
You know, my sentiments exactly. I agree with Craig 100%. I believe that that is exactly the way the Heisman Trophy voting is going to go. And if Craig and I are wrong, then the heck with it.
Edgerrin James in the backfield, gets the handoff. Boy, he glides. Ridden down Darrell Porter, makes the hit, 25-yard line. Well, there's Jake Plummer with a tough assignment today against Arizona.
I think Jake Plummer just had to come too far from behind to win the Heisman Trophy, but what a season he's had for Arizona State. He's the key to that team.
Troy Davis, 1,960 yards,
well,
19 touchdowns.
On a team that really isn't very good, he has done a marvelous job.
How about Hanspard from Texas Tech with an even 2,000. 2nd and 3. Edgerrin James looking as good as any back you'll see.
This guy, Edgerrin James, he has a smooth running style about him. He's able to glide and slide, move his feet laterally as well when he's making cuts. He's an impressive back.
Over 100 yards for the second time in his true freshman season. He was the first true freshman for a 100-yard game since Leonard Connolly in 1987. And look at him breaking free again. Edgerrin James, touchdown. Welcome to the big time. Edgerrin James putting on a show at the Orange Bowl.
Now, this is what the Miami coaches expected from Edgerrin James. They expect him to be a game breaker, a dominating player. One of the things when you play against a real back, you got to wrap him up and take him to the ground. You can't arm tackle him. You've got to put him down. Right here, it's an individual effort with strength and just outstanding cutting ability.
18 yards. And with a little celebration on the sideline, not realizing that they're going to go for 2. Up 30-11. Want to go up 21. Pass all the way. Covington zips it. Incomplete. Darrell Porter broke it up. Turned it for Fulcher. There's a certain poise to Edgerrin James, the way he runs the football. It's very graceful.
No question, he can slide sideways. That's the thing he has, the ability to slide sideways. He breaks 5 tackles on this run. You judge a back by how many yards he gets after the first hit. And Edgerrin James is getting yards after the first hit. That's what's separating him from the other Miami tailbacks.
117 yards and 2 touchdowns. Game 2 of our doubleheader today will feature Tennessee and quarterback Peyton Manning against Kentucky. Manning and the Volunteers will be eyeing their neighbors to the north, who will take the field one last time this season under coach Bill Curry. Manning could always strike from anywhere on the field, but Curry's team has rebounded after a 1-6 start with 3 straight wins entering this one. Kentucky and Tennessee. 3:30 Eastern time right here on CBS. 4:30 to go, third quarter. Miami leading 30-11. A pooch kick. Rupert English eyeing it. So was Markel Blunt. And BC lucky to keep possession there. Blunt with the eventual catch.
Pretty good strategy by Miami, too, because one thing that Boston College has hurt them on today is the kickoff return. So that breaks up the timing of that return. It breaks up those wedges that are being put onto your defense. It's good strategy by Butch Davis and his coaches.
Carlton Rowe has come in as a receiver at the bottom of your screen. Mutrin dumps it over to Walker. Hurricanes converging. And a flag thrown into the pile. May have been an illegal block there against Todd Pogg. It is against BC. One of those major penalties. Got some more injury updates to report from the sideline. Michelle?
Well, Jim, Anthony DeCosmo obviously out of the game for Boston College. Shoulder on the right side is being iced. He's got upper back spasms and also a chest contusion, which means every single time he takes a breath, he's in pain. And by the way, on Earl Little, they're looking at a mild concussion and determining whether or not he'll return to this game for the Miami defense, Jim.
Earl Little out, the senior cornerback. And he's replaced by Carlos Jones, number 12. First and 22. Mutrin steps forward in the pocket. Oh, the man was open. That was Carlton Rowe.
Ball.
Scott Mutrin started the season opener at Hawaii, and earlier this fall, his parents celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary, Paul and Shirley. So Scott and his sister and grandparents all chipped in, and as a 25-year anniversary gift, they got him plane tickets down to Miami for the Orange Bowl, and lo and behold, he's the starting quarterback.
Isn't that great? You love stories like that. Scott said he didn't pay a whole lot for that ticket, he told us. He said he let the other family members. He's a college student.
Second and 22. Put in what he could.
Absolutely. He was so happy that his folks were going to be here to watch this starting assignment for him.
How do you like Mutrin's performance so far, Terry?
Well, I think he's limited in terms of who to throw the ball to. You know, as soon as he loses to Cosmo, he's lost again his best receiver. Kenyatta Watson is back trying to play a little bit. The timing between the two can't be good. Watson's been hurt all season long. But I think he's a courageous player, and he hits some passes.
Third and 14, and Starks got a hand on it, forcing BC to punt.
You know, what's happened, Jim, is that BC has just lost too many football players. You just can't lose the numbers that they have lost and operate at the same efficiency level as you're used to. Dan Henning and his coaches have really battled this thing. They've done an outstanding job of keeping this team together, but when you lose all your players, you just don't end up making any big plays.
Malicki. Line drive boot starts from the 35. It's a 12-yard return. After a 41-yard kick. Terry would like to welcome you home to America's Night of Television. On CBS tonight, don't miss all new episodes of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, Early Edition, and Walker, Texas Ranger.
Looking forward to that. I'm going to get home because of the change in time. I'll be able to get home and catch one or two of those shows if everything goes right.
Edgerrin James to midfield.
Miami's left guard, Mercier, he pulls the wrong way and collides with the right guard. We've had a collision right there in the middle of the screen. All of a sudden, Edgerrin James comes out the other end, but the two linemen busted heads right there because of the broken assignment by Mercier.
Not looking to pancake your own teammate, are you?
No.
Second down and 7. Covington, nice pass. That's Fulcher. First down at the 29 of BC. 21-yard pass play.
Mondrell Fulcher gives Miami a real receiving threat at the tight end position. I've mentioned that he is a converted wide receiver, so you've got a real skilled athlete running routes from the tight end position, and when you get those guys isolated, they can really do some damage, and Fulcher has done it today. He's been Scott Covington, one of his favorite receivers.
That's his second catch. The first one went for a touchdown. Fumble on the exchange, and BC with the recovery. It's Darrell Porter with the recovery. Now remember, Covington had a sprained thumb on his left hand, and it occurred Tuesday in practice on a snap.
And he said that it wasn't bothering him to the point that he couldn't take the exchange. I asked him about Casey Jones in the snap. He says, it's perfect every time, but that ball looked like it was either a little short or Covington pulled those hands out just a little early.
That's the second time it's happened in this game. The other one was down at the 2-yard line before halftime, and Miami came away empty. They didn't turn it over, but they missed a field goal. So Mutrin on the field much earlier than he expected, looking for Guazzo on that pass.
One of the things that's happened to Boston College is because of the pass rush capabilities of Miami. They're trying to keep 8 blockers in, and when you do that, you don't have a lot of choices down the field. And so when Miami's rushing with 4 and they're having to keep 8 blockers in, it makes the job for the secondary much easier when you only have 3 guys out in the pattern.
Second and 10. Counter with Omari Walker. He got about 5 yards. Roderick Mack plugging the middle for Miami. 1:30 to go, third quarter. 30-11 Hurricanes. Syracuse piling up another big win today. Over 30 points for the 8th straight game, while Virginia Tech and West Virginia just start the fourth quarter. 24-7 Hokies.
Boy, ever since we saw Syracuse against Virginia Tech, Syracuse has been on fire. They are a good football team again.
3rd and 5. Mutrin can't ask for more time, and almost intercepted. Roderick Mack, we talked about him earlier, with 2 picks this year. Should have had a 3rd.
Almost had a 3rd. In that case, Scott Mutrin has plenty of time to get this ball off, but he throws it into coverage. There's a whole host of Miami defenders downfield, and he puts the ball up for grabs basically, and should have been an interception by Roderick Mack.
Malicki, you can feel the Miami pressure. They've already blocked him once today. Not this time. Setting up return. Starts from the 20. Waits for an opening. And scores, brings him down at the 31. 30-11 Hurricanes, scoring first on a field goal by Crossland, 27 yards. Then the pass of 76 yards. Tony Gator for the score, 10-0. Edgerrin James with a beauty from 11 yards out, 17-0. Then in the second quarter, DeCosmo with a touchdown catch, his first ever at BC. Covington from Miami came back to hit Fulcher with a touchdown pass. Then in the third, Hackett with a field goal, 42 yards out. And Edgerrin James with another gliding 18-yard touchdown. McMillan gets the carry this time, and he picks up about 8 to the 40-yard line.
Miami came out at the very beginning of the game, made it perfectly clear that they were going to try to dominate the line of scrimmage with their veteran offensive line and try to wear the BC defense down. They've been able to do it, particularly in the first half, and it's really going to come about here in the fourth quarter of the game. BC is going to wear down against that big, powerful group.
Out of the eye, Covington goes back to the tailback. McMillan runs right into Porter at the 50. Another first down for Miami. Starting to get about 8 yards a clip.
They're starting to rip that defense apart, and you can't blame the Boston College defense. These kids have to play defense. They have to also then go in and play special teams. They got to cover punts, kickoffs. They don't have enough players, so these guys are getting strained. And then when you put into the heat is a factor too for these guys. They're used to cold weather up there.
Well, that's the end of the third quarter. With the score, Miami 30, Boston College 11. We'll return to the Orange Bowl after this message and a word from your local station. We start the fourth quarter at the Orange Bowl in Miami. A cool blast on the sideline for some, like Mike Colucci of Boston College. But Miami with a 30-11 lead, opening the final period from the 50. McMillan dragged down by the shoulder pads.
McMillan is tackled by Greg Bartlett.
It was Greg Bartlett making that last tackle, and Miami with two backs over 100 yards. James with 120, and McMillan also over 100.
That's when you know you're dominating the line of scrimmage. Anytime you walk out of a game and you've had two backs over 100 yards, you have totally dominated the front.
They brought James back into the backfield. Miami with 251 yards overall rushing. And James hurts his average a little bit, only gaining 2.
Tackled by Chris Howard.
Edgerrin James might get the starting nod next week in that game against Syracuse.
You know, I think he hurt his ankle there a little bit on that play. He's limping. He seemed to get hit in the ankle. There's something wrong with him right now.
It was 3.
Michigan takes the lead on Ohio State in the fourth quarter, 10-9 Wolverines.
Sometimes when you have that onus on another team, it's tough to get it off you, and you just got to fight like crazy to get it off.
Flag down, McMillan spinning away to the 32. We'll have to check the flag at the line of scrimmage. So another good run by McMillan, but will it be taken away? You look at Dan Henning and you ponder what his future will be with Boston College.
We have no foul.
Oh, Dan Henning doesn't like talk call. He said, why are you all talking that long? Sometimes you never hear a fullback's name in a game because he doesn't carry the ball very often, but Carlo Joseph, number 40, he makes the kick-out block that enables Dyrell McMillan to get the ball down the field. That's why you want a fullback in your offense, to get that punishing off-tackle play going for your offense.
West Virginia with 11:40 to go has moved within 10 of Vodtech. Covington rolling out, and there's Joseph getting to touch the football and taking it to the 23. You mentioned Dan Henning a moment ago, Terry. What do you think? Will this be his last game as the head coach at Boston College?
Well, I certainly hope not. I think that most coaches in the industry, our heart goes out to Dan because we know how difficult it is to deal with the situation he's had to deal with. Nothing worries you more than a gambling scandal. And I think Dan took the proper precautionary measures, was proactive, but it's going to be hard for him to survive with a 5-6 or 5-7 record, and with that scandal, it's going to be tough.
McMillan breaking away. Porter again has to make a saving tackle at the 5. There is a flag down. It may be a face mask call. It is indeed. McMillan now with 141 yards for the day.
Tyrell McMillan wants to make sure that nobody gives his starting tailback position away to Edgerrin James. He's fighting for every yard he can get. And Daryl Porter comes up and grabs him by the face mask, takes him down. Anytime you get a hold of that face mask and keep a hold of it and pull a player down by it, you're going to get a 15-yard penalty. In this case, half the distance to the goal line.
Daryl Porter, who needed 60 tickets today.
Isn't that something? 60 tickets for his family to come here and watch him in the Orange Bowl.
McMillan, touchdown, Miami.
Touchdown.
We've talked about the great center of Miami, Casey Jones. You can watch him. He blocks back away from the flow of the play. He picks off the linebacker, number 90, Markel Blount. Casey Jones has been the mainstay in that offensive front the entire season. He's been the guy that's held that group together.
They're going for 2 again. Covington sacked by Collinet. So 2 failed 2-point tries, but still Miami ahead 36-11.
I do not drive to work. I do not drive to get from point A to point B. I do not drive to run away from the world. I just love to drive.
The new 1997 Monte Carlo. Personal space. From genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust.
Some people long for the good old days, before there were hundreds of channels of television, before there was an internet to surf, before you could email someone on the other side of the world. Let me tell you something about the good old days. They were pretty dull. I want to see things I've never seen, hear things I've never heard, experience things I've never experienced. Otherwise, what's the point of being here?
Philips Magnavox. Let's make things better.
Over the last 150 years, all kinds of companies that said they'd be there when you needed them didn't stand up to their promises. That's life. Our policy of thoughtful, prudent investing has kept us, well, a pillar of strength for the last 150 years. That's New York Life, the company you keep.
CBS Sports coverage of college football is sponsored by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. New York Life, the company you keep. And by Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Dan Henning still upset about that flag they picked up on that Miami series. Thought was going to be an infraction against the Hurricanes. But Miami comes into this game with a 6-3 record, yet only 5 wins against Division 1A opponents. You have to wipe away their victory against the Citadel 52-6. That's Division 1 AA. You need 6 wins over Division 1A opponents to qualify for a bowl. So they had to have one more victory. And they knew that next week at Syracuse, that's a tough assignment. They're going to clinch a bowl berth here with this victory today. Watson. Good piece of running. Kenyatta Watson. Sparks trying to cut him off. All the way to the Miami 41. with a deep thigh bruise. Not really saddled too much on this play by it.
Well, one of the best thing that Boston College has done today has been return kickoffs, unfortunately for them, but Kenyatta Watson just has a nifty job of running through the Miami defense here. Miami has not covered kickoffs well. I can assure you, first thing Monday morning, Butch Davis is going to get those coaches and that team in there, and they're going to solve that problem before they have to go up and play in Syracuse.
54-yard return, only 4:20 remaining in the Michigan-Ohio State game with the Buckeyes down by a point. Mutrin, 7-step drop, connects to Crittenden near the first down.
Jim, you know, as an ex-coach, my heart goes out to Boston College, to their staff and their players, but boy, do I respect the way they keep playing. Here it is. It's 36-11. They kick the ball off. They just take it, run it 40, 50 yards. They hit a pass. They just don't die. They just keep working away, keep fighting to stay competitive, and that's what they've been able to do.
Even a few injuries on the coaching staff for the injury-plagued Eagles. DeCosmo out. Saw one coach in a sling. 2nd down and 1.
Kind of sums up their year.
Yeah.
Look at this guy, Amari Walker.
Walker to the 21. There's K.C. Jones, English literature major.
He's a Renaissance man.
He really is. He did something last year that was pretty unusual. He made all Big East first-team center, and he got injured in the 4th game. Did not even play an elite game, and he made all-conference center.
Well, that tells you two things. One, it shows you what that preseason publicity can do for you, and it also shows you the respect that coaches around the league have for that guy, because he's the best center in the league.
4-year starter. Meanwhile, BC driving from the 22. First down. Mutrin to Guazzo, and that's got to be a flag. Tremaine Mack just rode him down. K.C. Jones got it on camera.
Guazzo's the slot receiver. He's going to run down the field, break to the outside to a post corner, and he's working against Mack. He has Mack beat. Clearly interference by Mack. He just tackled him. He saved a touchdown, and it's a good defensive play. If you're going to get beat like that, you're much better off interfering. Take the penalty. Don't give up the touchdown.
Scott Mutrin knew he was about to get walloped. Kennard Lang pile driving the quarterback to the turf. That'll bring BC to the Miami 7.
You know, I was talking about the competitiveness of Boston College. Watch Amari Walker, the running back, take on the Miami rush and drill it. Knocked him right down to the ground. James Burgess, the starting middle linebacker, just got drilled by Amari Walker. That's the kind of competitor Amari Walker is.
Here he is, Walker. Straight ahead for 2. Amari Walker today, 16 carries for 50 yards. I asked him, would he think about leaving school a year early? What with being married and 2 children? He says, no, I love college football. I am not ready to give up the college football experience.
I know, wasn't that a great answer when he was talking about that? I mean, that brought chills to me. I'm not kidding, the way he talked about his experience at BC and the players.
2nd and goal, Mutrin to Pollock. It would have only been a 1-yard gain. Coley made him pay for it over there on the right side. Tony Coley, one of the senior linebackers. Coley already having received his undergraduate degree. He found a mistake in one of the textbooks for one of his classes.
He's smarter than most of the guys on the field. This guy's about a 3.9 student one semester at Miami.
3rd and goal. Mutrin wanting to run for it. Oh, yes, give it to him. On the shoulders of Mack, he goes in for the touchdown. Mark Norrie with a good block. And BC into the end zone, 36-17. Mom and Dad love it. They come down from Cleveland.
They should like it. Boston College has run the quarterback draw several times this afternoon. And once again, it's a successful play. You follow that big right guard around there. You find a way into the end zone. Scott Mutrin, that's an effort by that guy. You've got to be impressed with their competitiveness.
Now Mutrin will hold for the point after by Chris Hackett. Oh, wayward. But a flag down. Flag down. Mack may have run into the kicker.
I'll tell you what, they'll have to go for two. I'm not sure they have another kicker left. They may have to just go for two. Probably will, because they'll get half the distance of the goal.
It wasn't Mack. Let me correct that. It was
Pickett.
Yeah, Booker Pickett who ran into Hackett.
Ran right into him. And
personal foul, roughing the kicker on the defense, half the distance to the goal. Repeat the down.
Michigan has kicked a field goal to go up 13-9 with a little more than a minute remaining.
I can't tell you what this is doing to me here, Jim. I'm agonizing for John Cooper.
You talked to him this week.
I talked to him this week, and I told him I thought he had such a better chance to beat Michigan this year because the pressure of the Rose Bowl was off with his win over Indiana last week. Now you can go into the Michigan game kind of loose and just play. And son of a gun, the doggone Wolverines, you got to give them credit, too. They're not going to give up that onus they have on them.
Ohio State's beaten them only once in the last 8 years. They're going to just try the point after. Hackett this time drills it through. 36-18 with 10:33 remaining. Quarterback Scott Mutrin into the end zone.
Bobby, any aspirin in there?
Dad, didn't your doctor tell you to take Tylenol for your back, not aspirin?
I take aspirin every day for my heart, don't I?
Right. And didn't he say for you more aspirin could cause stomach irritation?
Yeah.
Aspirin for your heart, Dad. Tylenol for your pain.
For patients on aspirin heart therapy, Tylenol is the pain reliever doctors recommend most for aches and pains.
You're pretty smart.
Yeah, I get that from Mom.
Chevy Blazer with the exclusive driver control system. A little security in an insecure world.
And the little dragon looked up to the moon with fire burning in his eyes, and he
Why
said...
does he have fire in his eyes?
Because he's a dragon.
How come he's a dragon and not a dinosaur?
Well, because...
How big is how come he has
When you use your Visa card this holiday season, we'll make a donation to Reading is Fundamental. Together, we'll bring kids a million stories.
Have I answered everybody's question?
When do we get snacks?
Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
No witnesses.
CBS Sunday, a new miniseries based on the classic that changed the way we look at crime. In Cold Blood.
Well, 36-18, Miami.
What's up, Cleveland?
What's up, Cleveland, says Scott Mutrin from Middleburg Heights in the Cleveland area.
Kids love playing football and being on television, don't they?
They know where the cameras are. Magic Benton ready for the return. No one deep for Miami. That ball actually was picked up at the 3, and Trent Jones is belted at the 8-yard line.
What happened there, Jim, Miami expected an onside kick by Boston College. They had 9 men up in front, 2 deep guys, so they didn't have anyone back deep to receive a deep kick. The ball didn't go all the way into the end zone, so they had to handle the ball. It was really poor positioning by the Miami return team. You got to have a guy back deep just in case they kick it.
And a penalty An illegal block will make it half the distance back to the 4-yard line.
They've got 9 guys up here. There's no problem with that because they're expecting the onside kick, but they have 2 deep guys who are on an equal plane right there. They need a deep man back here so he can field the ball.
10:28 remaining. Miami starts from the 4. They've been running the football with success all along, but now seemingly 8-9 yards a carry. See if that continues. Trent Jones, no gain. Maybe a loss. Tackle on that play by Bobby Edmonds.
Miami has to be careful in this area of the field. Now they have a substantial lead, but BC is a team that has great heart and fight to them. They're not going to quit in this game. They're going to keep coming back after them. Miami better protect that ball in this area of the field, not make a mistake with it, not let BC get back into this game emotionally.
Saw the helmet of K.C. Jones with that battered face guard. And Covington calls timeout. 36-18 Hurricanes. Only about 30,000 on hand today at the Orange Bowl. 12 seconds remain at Ohio State. Meanwhile, Miami faces 2nd and 10 from the 4-yard line. BC showing blitz. Covington, there's his target. Fulcher gets him out of the jam for a first down near the 20.
Mondrell Fulcher has been a factor all day long. When Covington's wanted to get off the hook, he's been able to find his tight end. It's a 2-receiver route with the tight end and the fullback attacking the flat of Boston College. Covington puts the ball outside where only one man can get it. Fulcher, he could have run for a touchdown and he not stepped out of bounds.
17 yards on that one. First down, Jones. Markel Blunt stops him at the 27. And let's go down to the sidelines again and join Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, yesterday I asked Scott Covington about his relationship this week with Ryan Clement and how much support he's gotten from the normal starting quarterback. He said, you know, we've got a strong relationship, but like any 2 quarterbacks competing for the same job, there's a little strain there. And quite frankly, I prepare like a starter every week, so there's really not much more he can give me. Guys?
Covington's having a good day here. Very impressive. Dumps it to Joseph.
The interesting decision, Jim, will come next week when Miami goes up to Syracuse to play in the championship game that it certainly has championship implications. And now you've got Covington coming off this performance, and you've got Ryan Clement. That's what gets hard for a coach because you get mixed emotions, mixed feelings on how you feel.
Clement's sprained ankle expected to be healthy, and he should be ready to go for that game next week. 3rd and 6. Covington, sideline route. Gator, first down. Did not step out until he got to the 48.
Tony Gator had a big play earlier in the game for the touchdown. Here he's isolated one-on-one. Anytime you get that kind of situation with a guy that has the speed of Tony Gator, the offense has an advantage. He does some nifty footwork on the sideline to keep the ball in bounds and get those extra yards after the reception.
Gator over 100 yards now receiving today, including the touchdown that covered 76 yards. Jones for a loss of 3. Brought down by Giannakakis. Look at Miami in total yardage today. 540 yards.
This is going to be one of Miami's best offensive production days in a long, long time. Maybe, you know, you take it, it'll be a top 10 production probably in the history of the school. They've been able to move the ball at will. And the nice thing is they've complemented that running game with a nice passing game by Covington.
2nd and 12. Covington, short pass again to Jones to the 43. It's be 3rd and 1.
See, I like the way Covington is maturing as he plays throughout this game. This time, he doesn't try to put the ball down the field to a wide receiver. He lays it off underneath to a running back, and that's when your quarterback is really maturing, when he can find open guys and not always force the ball down the field.
Well, the Michigan Wolverines have pulled it off. The upset over Ohio State, 13-9. Spoiling the national championship dreams of the Buckeyes, who led 9-0 in that game. With the flag flying, Jones to the 35.
As Jones carried.
Trent Jones starts last week, gained some 85 yards rushing against Virginia Tech. And now he's finding himself with McMillan and James both running with big yardage today. Let's get an update. Back to New York we go with Pat O'Brien.
All right, Jim, here's how Michigan came back. Brian Greasy in for Scott Dreisbach gets Ty Street for a 68-yard touchdown pass to cut the Buckeyes lead to 2, 9-7. 2 field goals later, 13-9 win. 3rd time in the last 4 years. Ohio State's coming unbeaten and lost to the Wolverines. You say 1-game season, Jim?
Wow.
You're right, Pat. Here's the pass. Gator pulls it down, and he's brought to a stop at the 15.
Tony Gator has been moving around today. He's played flanker. This case, he's playing in the inside. He runs down the field, fakes like he's going deep, and then breaks out on a post. They catch Boston College in a man-type coverage. Somebody made a mistake, didn't get him covered, and Serino, number 10, he finally gets down there and makes the play, but someone busted that coverage.
First down from the 15. In and out of the hands of big Nick Williams. Jolted by Bobby Edmonds. Virginia Tech answers the West Virginia touchdown with one of their own. Back in front by 17 with 6 minutes remaining.
Boy, Frank Beamer and his staff and players, I just got to take my hat off to them. That's a lot of wins. I mean, consecutive wins, and with, you know, they just keep rolling along. They're good. They're good in every phase of the game. Every phase. Offense, defense, kicking. They are outstanding.
Jones off right tackle. Advances to the 9. We got more football action coming your way next. The SEC, Kentucky, and Tennessee. The Wildcats with 3 straight victories coming into this one. And last year they gave Tennessee fits. It was a game that came right down to the very end before the Volunteers won. They'll be hosting the Wildcats of Bill Curry, his final game as the head coach at Kentucky, coming up next.
Boy, that'll be an emotional experience for Bill and everyone involved with that Kentucky program.
3rd and 4. Covington end zone bound. Nice catch. Touchdown, Chris Jones. Covington has now thrown for 290 yards and 3 touchdowns, completing 75% of his passes today.
Wow, he's had an afternoon. He really has been on the target all day long. Chris Jones, the tight end, he did not want to be shown up by Mondrell Fulcher, who's had a big day as well. He's making his presence felt. Those guys at tailback and tight end, they're going to be fighting for playing time.
Scott Covington, what a day. He's been waiting for that chance to start and play all 4 quarters. 43-18. Miami in front after a 96-yard touchdown drive. Took 12 plays to cover the field. Chris Jones with his 4th touchdown catch of the season. It is going to be interesting to see who you start next week. A quarterback and tailback. What would you do?
Well, I think if Ryan Clement is healthy, Butch Davis will come back with him. But it's going to be a tough decision because Scott Covington has been extremely impressive today.
Kenyatta Watson brought down at the 22. Rivalry Saturday as we know it. And let's get an update on another one of the big clashes today. Pat O'Brien with the story in New York.
All right, Jim. Yale coach Carm Koza's team lost to Harvard 26-21. His final game as a head coach. Rich Linden 10-yard touchdown run gave Harvard a 21-zip lead. They went on to win from there. Koza is retiring after 32 seasons as Yale's head coach. 303 games and so long. Back to Jim and Terry.
He spoke this week at a Harvard luncheon, Harvard booster luncheon. Did the Yale coach? They gave him a standing ovation.
As well they should. As well they should. What a man for college football.
Mike Cloud got that carry, the backup to Omari Walker. And he gained 16 yards. A lot of changes this year.
More changes in college football than I can remember in recent history, and I think there'll be more changes in the NFL than they've had in a long, long time. At least that's what people in the rumor mill have certainly said.
Mutrin to Watson for about 5. So not only Lou Holtz and Buddy Stevens, but guys like Bill Curry, Jim Wacker, Jim Coletto. John Ralston announcing this week he'd be stepping down. How close did you come to being involved in the whole Notre Dame sweepstakes?
Well, hey, listen, I enjoy working with my team at CBS. I want to be right here with you, partner. I'm not going anywhere. You're not getting rid of me that easy.
Mutrin keeps it for the first down and more, all the way to the 31.
They caught Miami that time in man coverage. There was no one assigned to the quarterback. There was a gaping hole for Scott Mutrin to go ahead and scramble with, and nobody could break off the coverage and get up and tackle him.
I've got to ask you, did you talk to Notre Dame?
Well, I had informal conversations with a few friends at Notre Dame, and they expressed to me an interest in me being interested in the job, and I expressed to them that I'm really happy with being at CBS and working in the broadcast booth for right now. And it was a situation where I just wasn't interested in returning right now to football. Hey, for 20 years, Jim, I was a head coach. I was on that sideline down there where those guys are. I need a rest. I can't believe my partner's putting pressure on me like that.
You think I'm finished?
Huh? No, I know you're not. You got that gleam in your eye.
Second down, Boston College. Still moving the football with Watson making the catch at the 18. It must be awful hard to say no to Notre Dame, though, huh?
Well, Notre Dame is truly a dream job. It's one of the great universities in the country. I was never offered the job. It was just a matter of whether I was interested and would like to visit about the job. Very similar to, I'm sure, Gary Barnett's situation. And it's a hard thing to say no, but as Craig Silver, our producer, likes to say, let's wrap the conversation on this.
As they go toward the end zone, incomplete. Looking for Rowe.
Intended for...
Yeah, we got another update on the Ariskovich injury. And Michelle Tafoya, what's the story?
All right, Jim, Dan Ariskovich has passed all of his tests at the hospital with flying colors. Everything came out negative, so the word is he's on his way back here to the Orange Bowl, and he'll go back to BC with his teammates, Jim.
Great. That's
wow. Thanks,
wonderful
Michelle,
news.
for that report. That's the best one of the year right there.
Just joined us. It was a frightening moment in the late first half. Offensive lineman for BC down on the field. Look at Mutrin pick up the first of the 4. Dan Ariskovich, who was on the field for 10 to 15 minutes, I would say, before he was carried off very gingerly.
Oh.
And there was some fear for a while that there might be a spinal cord injury, but that's not the case.
Well, the fear in your heart that you feel when you see someone down that long as a teammate or as one of your players, I mean, it puts the fear of the Almighty in your heart. I mean, you just can't believe it that this is going to happen to you.
First and goal. Mutrin tossing it in the area of Chamberlain. Scott Mutrin has done some big running efforts, had some big running efforts on the ground today. Yeah, 7 rushes, 58 yards.
You know, he's caught him in man coverage a couple times, and when he has, he's had some areas to scramble up in. But, you know, Mutrin is a competitor. In visiting with him prior to the game, he has that look in his eye that he wasn't intimidated whatsoever playing Miami. He was just anxious to play and wanted to get an opportunity.
Amari Walker slicing through, and a touchdown. Boston College touchdown with 2:55 remaining.
Jim, there's no quit in Boston College. There's no quit in that team. Amari Walker puts the ball in the end zone. He lowers those pads. The game is out of reach, but this guy and the rest of the Boston College players, they believe in being competitive, and sure enough, he gets that ball across the goal line.
They'll go for 2 this time, trailing by 19. Walker with the carry, with the 2. So 43-26. Miami's lead is 17. Final 3 minutes coming. Tell you, I don't know if you can at home understand just how undermanned Boston College is, but we're talking about a backup center, backup left tackle, backup quarterback. All your starting receivers are out.
Several tight ends
out.
Your kicker
suspension and injury. Your place kicker's out, and they put up 26 points on the board at Miami, which, by the way, matches the Temple total this year against Miami, which is the most points a Big East team has ever scored against the University of Miami.
Isn't that something? In Boston College, I'll tell you, I just have a tremendous amount of respect for what they've done.
Onside kick recovered by Starks. We're just minutes away from getting this one going. Kentucky and Tennessee, over 100,000 on hand at Neyland Stadium. Peyton Manning been a little banged up lately, but he's going to get the start. Tennessee with an 8-2 record.
Jim, you know, last night when we had a chance to visit with those Boston College players, you could feel the pain of the season as they talked about what they've been through. And Stalin Collinet, one of the team captains, he talked about it. And these guys at Boston College have really been affected and hurt by this whole gambling scandal, but the way they have pulled together as a team, and I think somewhere Dan Henning's got to get some credit for that. He's been out front on this whole thing. He's the man that's answered all the questions. He has been the guy that has kept the remaining parts of his team together, and I'll tell you, I could sense and feel what these kids have gone through last night, and I know you could too.
Season of despair, but the last 3 games couldn't ask for a better effort. Down to the 30. They will finish their season with a 5-7 mark. Two tailbacks, Cloud and Walker, sharing the bench.
These guys are all going to be better and stronger people for having gone through the adversity that they've gone through, and they can't appreciate it right now, but somewhere in their lives they're going to look back on this and know that they hung in there. They fought to the bitter end for their coaches and for their school, and you got to be proud of them. I am. I think they're terrific.
Timeout on the field called by BC. Miami has now eclipsed 600 yards total offense, 615 to be exact. We'll be right back.
Is your dandruff sending the wrong signals? Get Selsun Power. Doctors recommend Selsun Blue #1, so don't send the wrong signals. Get Selsun Power.
Now is no time to discover your ordinary flashlight isn't working.
Come on, Snake, fly and rescue.
Now you need the Auto Snake Light. Plug it in or run it on batteries. Be prepared. The Auto Snake Light. Very clever, Black & Decker.
It's in all of us. The basic human instinct to protect oneself and one's future by holding on to life's certainties. For more than 130 years, Travelers Insurance has answered this basic need. With the comfort of our experience, the strength of our assets, the security of our products. What we all want is what Travelers Insurance provides. Something to hold on to.
One little nugget as we see a final in from Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech victorious today and will claim a share of the Big East championship.
Congratulations to Frank Beamer and his group.
Still unclear as to who gets the alliance bid. All that will be worked out next week when we have Miami at Syracuse on Saturday. And with the Miami win today, and Syracuse with its win today against Temple. It's not a final yet, but well on its way. You can see how tightly contested is. Syracuse can win the conference outright with a win next week and win its last 9 games and probably end up right here in the Orange Bowl if the Orangemen win.
And Syracuse will not be easy to beat up in the Carrier Dome. It's going to be a chore for Miami to go up there, and particularly with as well as Syracuse is playing right now. They're a hot team.
Florida off today, getting ready for its showdown with the Seminoles next week, and Ohio State suffers the devastating loss today to Michigan. Florida State's playing down here in the Miami land area against Maryland today. Arizona State. Nebraska and Colorado just a few days away. Penn State up on Michigan State. You're starting to see now that Penn State works its way into the alliance equation. The alliance being the Sugar, Fiesta, and Orange Bowl. 6 teams. For those 3 bowls, there's Jones backing up to the 30. Miami on its way to winning its 79th straight game when it scored more than 30 points. The last team to beat Miami when Miami went over 30 was Terry Donahue and UCLA in the January 1st, 1985 Fiesta Bowl. You beat them 39-37.
One of the great ones I've ever been in.
I thought after that Notre Dame grilling, I'd throw you a little nugget.
Thank you, buddy.
A little bone.
I appreciate that, partner.
Timeout on the field. We'll be right back. Up next, I want to extend our thanks to our coordinating producer of college football on CBS, Craig Silver. Today's game directed by Robert A. Fishman. Our associate director, Steve Shear. And how about Deb Gelman down in the truck also, our broadcast associate. Terrific job all season long. Boston College hoping to get the ball back here with a minute and change remaining. And they will. With that stick, BC will have a few more snaps. Our technical manager, Bobby Brown. Jeff Ringel, our technical director. Eric Mann, our coordinating producer of the College Football Today. Kathy Barretto directed the studio. Studio produced by Vinny DeVito. Executive producer of CBS Sports, Rick Gentile. .108 remaining. Neutron. Oh, Carlton Rowe may have been able to break that one all the way.
Carlton Rowe, he ran right down the middle of Miami's defense, unmolested. He didn't get hit by the defensive back right there. You've got to try, if you're going to play that kind of coverage, you need to get a little hit. It's a soft cover 2 type coverage.
Oh, how about the pass?
He just hit him right in the hands. Scott Mutron, he knows, oh, I had a few more yards there and a big completion.
Mutron will try again. For Willie. Gets out of bounds to stop the clock after a 7-yard run, maybe 8.
Goes out of bounds.
3rd and short coming up for the Eagles. Kentucky and Tennessee. Next on CBS, 3rd down and 2. Mike Cloud gets the first down. Talked to a few bowl officials this week, and the way it appears to be shaking out right now, and I'm going to put Syracuse just for the moment in as the Big East team. It looks like it would be, if Florida beats Florida State, Florida, Nebraska in the Sugar, Notre Dame, Florida State in the Fiesta, and Penn State, Syracuse in the Orange.
Hey, listen.
Now, let's put the option in there if Florida State wins. It changes the equation. Florida State, Nebraska in New Orleans, then Notre Dame, Penn State at the Fiesta, and Florida Gators here against Syracuse in the Orange.
Hey, you're assuming that Colorado isn't going to get after the Cornhuskers, and Rick Neuheisel and that group, they got something to say about that. They got a lot of former Bruins on that team coaching now, and those guys are going to have something to say about that.
And there's other situations too. There's the SEC title game that you have to make your way through after playing Florida State if you're Florida. Then you got the Big 12 championship game. So all kinds of things could happen. But that's right now the way it appears to be shaken out. Pollock with the catch for the 44. Sense in the football community is if Boston or if Notre Dame even loses to Southern Cal next week, they still likely be chosen by the Fiesta Bowl people.
8-3, it's hard to turn Notre Dame down.
Deanna Watson, nice piece of running here, and that'll close out the season for Boston College. The final here, Miami 43, Boston College 26. We're going to get one more play as they move the chain, stop the clock. Mutrin bound and determined to find the end zone one last time. Look out from behind. Miami recovers. The game is over. Boston College's only turnover of the day was the last play. For Terry Donahue and Michelle Tafoya, Jim Nance saying so long from the Orange Bowl. Tennessee, Kentucky next.